Hokage give me a face. One Piece, Chapter 61-80. Chapter 61 occupy most of the ship. In this way, Nami, Robin, Alvia, Koya, Marina and Yizan were added to Luffy's ship at one time. Oh, and Usopp. In order to prove his courage, Usopp finally boarded the ship. In fact, Yizan did not want Usopp to board the ship. His impression of Usopp was very bad. However, since Luffy wanted to let Usopp on board, Yizan didn't have much opinion. After all, Usopp was the only ultra-long-range attack crew member on the loose spaceship. And because of Kia's boarding, Luffy also got the first pirate ship in his life, the Golden Mary. Golden Melly, go! Luffy sat on the bow with excitement on his face, and the boat of friendship finally set sail. However, not bad. Yizan leaned against the side of the ship comfortably. Before setting off, the Golden Melly was refitted by him with Mokudan wood style. The current Golden Mary is much larger than the original. Originally, Luffy, Zoro, Usopp and the others would be very happy, but because of Yizan's strong intervention, the 30th pirate ship, which has tripled in size, has been divided into two parts. Area. One big and one small. The large area is naturally where Yizan and others live, while the small area is where the three bachelors Luffy, Zoro and Usopp live. Why separate? Luffy vented his dissatisfaction loudly. Men and women are not kissing. Yizan's face was calm, and the second half of the Golden Mary was marked with the Yuhi line, prohibiting all men from stepping on it. Then why do you live there? Yizan's calmness made Luffy even more unhappy. He looked at his narrow bow and pointed angrily at the rear where Nami and Robin were. I'm a family member of a female family member. Also, female family members can come to your area at will, but you are absolutely not allowed to come to the female family members' area. If you don't believe me, you can try to step in. What happens? You are responsible for yourself. Yizan sneered. He set up a seal formation on the Yuhi line that cuts across the entire ship. The seal formation can automatically detect the hormones contained in the body of the person passing by. Once a large amount of male hormones is found, the sealing technique will be activated. I'm not convinced. You don't agree. I'm not convinced. I have the ability to single out. Luffy bent his slender rubber arms with an unyielding fighting intent on his face, and then PFF'd. Help, Usopp, Sauron. You. Looking at Luffy, who lost his strength after struggling in the ocean for less than a second, Yizan clapped his hands comfortably, turned around, and left the side of the ship dashingly. Struggle between Yizan and Luffy ended in Luffy's defeat. Although he was defeated by Yizan, Luffy still refused to accept it. In the end, Yizan finally came up with a way to let Luffy accept it willingly. Yizan's unfair treaty. Yizan's method is very simple, that is, make delicious food for Luffy to eat. As a foodie, Luffy's pursuit of food is beyond the sky. Yizan, I won't be seduced by you. I'm the captain. I should occupy a bigger place. I must go there. Luffy shouted at Yizan, still not admitting defeat. That's right, Luffy is the captain, he has the final say. Usopp on the side also waved the flag to cheer, but was directly ignored by Yizan. Luffy, is that so? You won't be bewitched by me. Yizan walked out of the kitchen with a plate in his hand. He picked up the roasted meat on the plate and raised it lightly. Luffy's eyes widened. His eyes locked tightly on the barbecue in Yizan's hands, looking at Yizan like a puppy wagging its tail. This way. Yizan moved the barbecue to one side, and Luffy's eyes immediately moved there. Over there. Yizan moved the barbecue, and Luffy's eyes moved with it. Luffy, you're so embarrassing. Usopp yelled at Luffy, but Luffy didn't seem to hear Usopp's voice at all. Looking at Luffy's cute appearance, Yizan's mouth twitched into a smile, and the barbecue in his hand was thrown out of the boat. Go. In an instant, Luffy's head bounced out with the ability of a rubber fruit, directly biting the roast meat thrown by Yizan. Ha ha. I bite. Luffy swallowed the roasted meat wholeheartedly, and before he could react, he saw the rapidly approaching sea. Ah, I can't swim. Usopp. Sauron. Help. PFF'd. Luffy, who fell into the sea, lost his strength again in less than a second. He flipped Byakugan and slowly sank into the sea, while Yuzan was leaning on the side of the boat with a smile, sticking his head out to see Luffy drowning. Sure enough, it's a landlubber who can't swim. The splash is big, and I feel happy. Yuzan didn't care, but Usopp couldn't. He silently patted his forehead and sighed softly. It really is. It was found that Luffy was really dying. Usopp still plunged into the sea to save Luffy. No way, Luffy really can't swim, and Yuzan really can't go to sea to save Luffy. This point, it has been confirmed since the first time Luffy was thrown into the sea. It's done. Seeing that Luffy was about to die after being fished up, Yuzan snapped his fingers proudly, and stuffed the second piece of roast meat on the plate into his mouth. Bad brother Zan, you came to this ship just to satisfy your bad taste. When Yuzan was eating the barbecue, Nami twisted the waist of the water snake and came to Yuzan's side. Seeing Nami's youthful and cute appearance, Yuzan was moved and hugged Nami into his arms. Nami, you misunderstand me too much. Do you think I'm a prankster? I want to train Luffy to become the Pirate King for the sake of Luffy. Yuzan smiled wickedly, bowing his head on Nami's face. I kissed it. It smells good. Bah, brother Zan, you are getting worse and worse. Nami's cheeks were slightly yuhi, but she raised her hands to wrap her arms around Yuzan's neck. Brother Zan, Sister Robin and Sister Truth Nai and I are going to wear bikinis to bask in the sun. I made a special trip to inform you, hee hee. Nami blinked her eyes playfully, and deliberately moved close to Yuzan's ear, blowing lightly on Yuzan's ear. That tingling feeling instantly made Yuzan's eyes glow green. Chapter 62-Bask in the Sun. Really, you want to bask in the sun? Hey, don't worry. Go ahead, I'll give you a look. You won't be seen by men. Yuzan was extremely serious, but what he said made Nami turn a Byakugan lightly. Brother Zan, aren't you a man yourself? Humph. You big villain, I don't believe your words. Hey, why don't you believe me? Nami, look into my eyes. What do you see in it? Sincerity, sincerity. How can such an innocent boy lie? Still innocent. Uncle Level is not qualified to say this. Nami smacked Yuzan coquettishly and put her head on Yuzan's shoulder. Brother Zan, help us find a place to bask in the sun. Tilda. A place to bask in the sun. Hee hee. Kiss me. As long as you kiss me, I'll tell you the place I built for you to bask in the sun. Yuzan smirked, making yuhi on Nami's cheeks more and more dizzy. She gently pushed Yuzan away, twisted the water snake's waist and walked towards the back of the boat. Bad brother Zan, I don't want to kiss you. I already know. Nami turned around and made a face at Yuzan, and then jumped to the rear of the boat where Robin, Marina and the others gathered, only to find that all except Ervia, even Kia, has put on a bikini. Even though she usually wears a wide princess dress, she really puts on a bikini, and then she shows a fat-free figure and a perfect C-cup. Wow, Kia, your figure is so good. Nami covered her mouth in surprise, but the exaggerated appearance made Kia pouted. Hate, Sister Nami, you are obviously in better shape than me, and you are making fun of me on purpose. Humph. Hee hee, Kia, I didn't mean to make fun of you. Look at Sister Robin and Sister Marina, their figures are better than mine. I didn't mean to. Tilda. Humph. Sister Nami, you are good or bad, you did it on purpose. Yes, she did it on purpose. A familiar voice came. Kaya Mengmeng blinked her eyes, and before she could react, she was hugged by a strong arm and her head hit her thick heart. She raised her chin blankly, only to realize that it was Yuzan who was hugging her. Brother Zan, you. What am I, little idiot? Yuzan flicked Kia lightly, but he kept his left hand around Kia's waist. The smooth and white skin was tender, especially after wearing a bikini. Dad, big horny, Marina muttered in a low voice, but Yuzan heard it. Yuzan looked up, only to find that she was wearing Yuhi's white striped bikini, and her D-cup body was similar to Nami's, but her overall temperament even better. There was that smooth Yuhi-colored hair, like a tender flame, with a fiery and youthful energy. Hey hey hey. Regarding the slightly jealous muttering of Marina, Yizan walked over with a smile and took her into his arms with the other hand. He was not satisfied, but looked at Robin and Nami, and looked down at his heart. And found that his arms were already filled with Koya and truth. However, Alvia, why don't you change your swimsuit? Yizan turned his eyes to Alvia, even though she looked pretty and simple. In fact, her heart was firm and full of strong self-consciousness. It was Yizan who was rare, a woman who had not been completely successful after soaking for several years. What swimsuit? Do you think I can be fooled by you as easily as Robin and the others? Want to see me in a swimsuit? It won't do as you wish. Alvia snorted, with a smile on her face with a proud charm. If you don't convert it, then you are responsible for pouring water for us. You. What am I? Go bartending. Yizan held his head high, holding Maina and Kia in his arms, followed by Robin and Nami, smiling and climbing to the top of the boat. 30 meters above the top of the boat, Yizan made Mokutan wood style. There is a large observation deck, about 200 square meters, with many beach chairs on it, which is completely an open-air sunbathing place. Wow! As soon as they arrived at the observation deck, Nami and Kia's eyes widened. They were very surprised by everything in front of them. On the wide observation deck, parasols, lounge chairs, and fruits were neatly arranged. Brothers on. As if thinking of something, a strange smile appeared on the corner of Nami's mouth. She looked at Yizan silently, making Yizan feel cold all over. That, baby Nami, what's wrong? Yizan's face was full of alertness. Whenever Nami burst into such a weird smile, it was definitely not a good thing. Hee, brothers on, can you leave first? Nami looked at Yizan with a smile. We want to enjoy sunbathing without any men peeping. Yizan was stunned for a moment at Nami's words, and instantly understood that he couldn't get rid of it so easily. It's easy to talk. Yi Xuanzhi turned around with a smile, and even unabashedly glanced at the figures of the girls. I'll leave first. After Yizan finished speaking, he turned and walked down the observation deck. Yizan just left, completely different from his usual performance. On the observation deck, Robin looked at Nami. Do you think this is useful? It's useless. Nami nodded with certainty. So. Nami quickly came to the entrance of the observation deck, looked down, and saw Yizan's smiling face. Brothers on, can you tell me what are you doing here? Me, I'll see what else you're missing. We don't lack anything except you. Nami waved her fist fiercely, while Yizan covered her eyes with both hands and pretended to wipe her tears. Nami, you are so sad, my heart, my glass heart. Woo woo woo. HMPH. Don't fake crying. I don't believe you. Nami snorted softly and closed the wooden door at the entrance of the observatory, completely blocking Yizan's eyes. It's done. Now you can enjoy the beautiful weather in peace. Nami stretched her waist comfortably, sat down on the beach chair, and curled up slightly like a kitten. Chapter 63-Find Another Chef. Seeing Nami's comfortable appearance, Robin smiled and took a sip of the juice next to him. Idiot, don't think it's useful, I'm sure Brother Zahn is still watching us. Robin's words made Nami look around in an instant alertness. Where? If you can find it, Brother Zahn is no longer Brother Zahn. Come out, don't hide. As soon as Robin's voice fell, a big smiling face appeared beside her. Well, it really is Robin who knows me best. With such a good figure and so smart, how can other women live? Yizan put his face in front of Robin's murderous, subconsciously wanted to bury it in. Before Yizan was buried, he squeezed his ear with one hand. He turned to look, only to find that it was Nami's indignant gaze. Bad. Hey, baby Nami, who's the bad guy? Who made you so angry? Tell me, I'll help you get revenge. Yizan said angrily, causing Nami to clench her fist angrily. Bad Brother Zahn. You are the one who made me angry. Nami roared, and then slumped weakly. Forget it, it doesn't matter, just watch it if you like it. Nami lay helplessly on the reclining chair. Robin on the side looked at all this and smiled. Okay Nami, don't be too good here to get a bargain here. If Brother Zan really doesn't like you, you will probably faint from crying. Robin's words made Nami's cheeks instantly embarrassed to Yuhi. She looked at Yi-zan awkwardly, but didn't say much, and acquiesced to Robin's words. Seeing all this, Yi-zan leaned in front of Nami. Nami, I thought about it. If you really don't want me to stay here, then I'll go first Tilda. You dare. Nami turned around quickly and hugged Yi-zan's neck at once. Hee. Seeing Nami's active behavior, Yi-zan smirked, and pressed her lips gently. When Yi-zan and the girls basked in the sun on the large observation deck, Luffy was full of grievances on the deck. I decided, I must find a chef who cooks better than Yi-zan. That's right, in that case, I don't need to save you all day. Usopp nodded in agreement, looking at the clothes that were wet by the sea in order to save Luffy. He wanted to cry without tears. Sauron, what do you say? I don't care. As a swordsman who is devoted to cultivation, these things are nothing, he doesn't care. Well, since that's the case, then it's a happy decision. We're going to find a chef who is better than Yi-zan. Immediately after making a decision, Luffy also has such a personality. He raised his head and shouted towards the back of the ship, because the Golden Mary was refitted by Yi-zan, and the current Golden Mary has become a behemoth. Yi-zan, come here, Luffy shouted, and the voice soon reached the observation deck. Cut. Idiot Luffy, what's the matter? Although he was speechless, Yi-zan still put Nami down from his arms. Wait for me, I'll come over after I get that foodie. Yi-zan said, using the technique of Hiraishin, he came to Luffy in an instant. What's the matter? Still want something to eat? Of course. No. Luffy kept the slapstick, but shook his head firmly. I'm going to find a cook who is better than you. I'm going to drive you off the boat. Hearing Luffy's declaration, Yi-zan smiled, with a terrifying light in his eyes. You want a cook better than me? And you want to kick me off the boat? Yes. Luffy looked at Yi-zan seriously. That's good, as you wish. Bye. Yi-zan smiled cruelly, and a golden force field enveloped Luffy. Space, give me a face, send Luffy to the sea restaurant where Sanji is. Uzumaki appeared directly behind Luffy. Before Luffy could react, he was gently pushed by Yi-zan, screamed and fell into the space Uzumaki. Well, it's done. Yi-zan yawned lazily. Next to him, Usopp's eyes widened, completely stunned. This. Don't be surprised, do your own thing, that's all, don't disturb me. After Yi-zan finished speaking, he went to the observation deck again and enjoyed sunbathing with the girls. Luffy disappeared, which shocked Usopp. He immediately went to the training room to find Zoro, and asked in a panic, Sauron, what should I do? I don't know, Zoro said. The large dumbbell in his hand did not stop, and continued to start his muscle training. And when Usopp didn't know what to do, the neatly dressed Alvia finally came to Usopp. Looking at Alvia, Usopp seemed to see the savior. He wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Alvia. Don't worry, I know where Luffy is. I can drive the boat, let's go find Luffy now. After Alvia finished speaking, he turned the rudder according to Nami and Yi-zan's instructions. Okay, you stay here, keep your course the same, and keep walking like this to find Luffy. After Alvia finished speaking, ignoring the doubtful Usopp, he slowly left the cab. On the observation deck, Yi-zan lay lazily, and Marina cut an apple with a knife, cut it into a moon kiba shape and stuffed it into her mouth. Well, she didn't put it into Yi-zan's mouth, but into her own mouth, and then leaned down. Boom. Ouch. Stinky Dad, you knocked me again. Little idiot. Yi-zan gave Marina a white look, raised his finger to scour her mouth, scooped out the apple, and put it in his mouth. Well. It tastes good. Humph. Marina snorted softly, twisted her waist and returned to her beach chair. She decided not to give Yi-zan an apple, and if she didn't let herself use her mouth, she wouldn't eat it. Don't eat, don't eat. Yizan turned around comfortably and moved towards Nami. Brother Zan, why did you want Luffy to go to that sea restaurant? Nami asked suspiciously. Because there is a chef in the restaurant on the sea, and I don't want to cook for Luffy. Yizan said casually, closing his eyes. The sun today is bright but not too dazzling, the climate is warm and very comfortable. I knew Dad was lazy. Marina on the other side flipped through Byakugan and said with a pretense of disdain, Dad's laziness is too serious, only girls can treat it, other than that, there is no way to do it. Oh, so baby Marina, are you willing to help me treat my sluggishness? Come on. Seeing Yizan turning around again, Marina looked at Yizan provocatively, and even hooked her bikini, almost revealing the two groups of pure white. Che. Yizan pouted when he saw Marina's expectant look on his face. He raised his upper body slightly, and saw Kaya holding cakes on the coffee table not far away. Kaya, help me get some. Tilda. Chapter 64-Fuck Luffy. It was 2 days later when the Golden Mary arrived at Barati, the restaurant at sea. Compared with the original book, when the now giant Golden Melly arrived, the force of the stop actually caused a lot of waves, which pushed the restaurant on the sea into turmoil a few times. Barati is recognized as the best sea restaurant in the East China Sea. Let's go and have a taste of this food. Yizan smiled and walked off the boat with a group of beautiful women. As for Zoro and Usopp behind him, it was naturally not within Yizan's consideration. As soon as the door was opened, Yizan caught the attention of everyone in the restaurant, not for any other reason, but because the girl next to Yizan was so beautiful. No matter Nami or Robin, Marina or Alvia, including Kia, they are all extremely beautiful. Every girl has a different temperament, noble, playful, intellectual, and cute. Although the styles are different, they all carry unparalleled charm. Huh, are you all stupid? Yizan glanced at the diners in the restaurant disdainfully. His familiar voice finally attracted Luffy, who was working in the back kitchen. Sure enough, it's you. You bastard. What are you doing here? Luffy immediately shouted when he saw Yizan. Tisk. It's Luffy, why are you wearing this kind of clothes? Are you a waiter in this restaurant? Yizan smiled wickedly, full of malice, which made Luffy a little worried. For Yizan's bad taste, Luffy, I know it clearly. Once I know that I am really a waiter in the restaurant, I will definitely be bullied. Are you the waiter at the restaurant? Huh, don't tell. Hee hee. Come, man, I want to order. Following Yizan's words, the back chef came out with a chef holding a spoon. Luffy, what are you still doing? The guests are ordering food, hurry up. The chef's roar made Yizan smile proudly. He looked at Luffy, and hooked his fingers lightly. Come on, Luffy, I'll order some food. Tilda. Yizan's smile was getting worse and worse, and Luffy's mouth was pitifully shriveled, and he almost cried. 2 days ago, he was teleported by Yizan's space, and happened to fall from the air, smashing the roof of the restaurant on the sea. Now, he can only work as a waiter in a restaurant, working part-time to pay off his debts. Hey, Luffy, where's the menu? How can I order without the menu? Humph. Luffy snorted angrily, but in order to repay the debt, he had to bring the menu to Yizan. Very good, it seems that you have some professionalism. I want to eat this. Yizan pointed to a certain dish on the menu, and Luffy immediately took out paper and pen to record it. After Luffy wrote the name of the dish, Yizan shook his head. No. Cheap. Simply cheap. Yizan's performance made everyone feel that Yizan exudes cheapness. It really is, so cheap. You don't want this. Luffy's eyes widened angrily, looking at the name of the dish he had written down and shouting, don't say anything. Hee, I will say what I don't want, and then leave what I want. What? Is there any problem? Yizan was arrogant, but there seemed to be no problem, which made the fool Luffy want to cry without tears. Yizan beat him violently. Unfortunately, he couldn't beat Yizan, and even if he could, in terms of his current status as a part-time worker to pay off his debts, he couldn't attack the guests, which made him very uncomfortable, but he had to continue to let Yizan order food. However, Yizan's mischief has just begun. This. Yizan pointed out a dish name again. This is not right, Luffy said quickly to help Yizan. Seeing that Yizan didn't speak, Luffy breathed a sigh of relief and thought it was over, but... I still want this. Nami likes this dish. Bastard. Didn't you say no? Did you say it? Did I say no? Yizan scratched his head suspiciously, which made Luffy helpless. Indeed, Yizan never said that this dish was not. Luffy was so fooled by Yizan that he almost collapsed, and he could only remember this dish of Yizan. This dish. Yizan pointed to the name of the third dish. Luffy stopped talking, just looked at Yizan like this, ready to wait for Yizan to gasp for breath. However, Yizan didn't breathe much this time. That's it. Very good. Hearing Yizan's determined tone, Luffy quickly wrote down the name of the dish. However, do you want this dish, or not? Yizan's words directly caused Luffy to collapse. He really wants to beat Yizan now, but he can't beat him. He wants to cry, but he can't cry. His biggest hope now is to finish the order so that he can leave Yizan. However, this does not mean the end. Yizan continued to spoof Luffy and kept repeating the dish names. After a full 10 minutes, Luffy's eyes were dizzy and swaying. There were many dish names randomly written on the paper, and he completely collapsed. Okay, let's order these dishes. That's it. Yizan's words made Luffy's eyes widen instantly, and he could hardly believe that his hell trip had ended like this. Really? Really? After getting Yizan's definite answer, Luffy put away the menu at the speed of light, ran away, rushed into the back kitchen and handed the menu to Zepp. Luffy left, and the others in the restaurant looked at Yizan in astonishment. They finally got to know each other. Brother Zan, how are you? Nami poked Yizan lightly, but Yizan became more and more nervous. The most cheap people are invincible, the water is clear and there are no fish, don't worship me. Yizan shook his head to summarize his behavior. Shameless worship summary. Zapu and other chefs were cooking. Luffy hid in the back kitchen and couldn't come out. Yizan was about to continue teasing Luffy when he came to Yizan alone. Looking at the person who came, Yizan frowned slightly. This was a man who pretended to be elegant with a glass of yuhi wine. Yizan didn't like the approach of a man. Hello, beautiful ladies, my name is Finbooty, may I know the ladies' names? The man came to Nami and Marina with a smile that he thought was a gentleman. He didn't know where he took out a captain's medal and buckled it on his clothes on purpose. Chapter 65 _ Consequences of Scolding. May I know Fang's name? Such an old-fashioned way to strike up a conversation is so weak. Nami glanced at the Navy captain named Finbooty, with disdain, thinking about how to send this annoying person away. But this kind of thing should be a man, right? Thinking of this, Nami looked up at Yizan, but found that Yizan was watching the development of the matter with a smile, apparently deliberately embarrassing Nami. Che, are you still trying to embarrass me? Nami gave Yizan a stern look, and her beautiful eyes flashed. Captain Finbooty, right? Did you see him? Beat him, I'll tell you me what's your name. Hearing Nami's words, Finbooty immediately turned his eyes to Yizan, and seriously, he couldn't get used to Yizan's hug from the left and right at first, but now, Nami happened to give him a beating Zan's chance. However, the reason for the high sounding is still to be found. Finbooty deliberately raised his heart, and turned to Yizan with a high-level Navy posture. Boy, have you offended this beautiful lady? Ha ha. Yizan smiled, ignoring Finbooty at all, but hooked at Nami. Come here. What are you doing? Nami looked at Yizan warily. What am I doing? Humph. Yizan smirked, pulled Nami away, hugged Nami directly into his arms, lowered his head, and choked Nami's Sakura. You, bold, how dare you bully the lady in front of me? Seeing Yizan kissing Nami, Finbooty felt as if Yizan had robbed him, raised his fist and smashed it at Yizan's head. Go away. With a light drink, Yizan seemed to slap a fly, waving his hand and hitting Finbooty's abdomen directly. Bang! Captain Finbooty flew out like a cannonball, smashing a dining table not far away, and a lot of hot soup spilled on the dining table. Odd Captain Finbooty screamed as he fell to the ground. That pitiful appearance made Nami giggle. Nami's reaction made Finbooty, who was holding the fire in his heart, completely furious. He resisted the severe pain and stood up, his face sullen. "Smile, laugh at you being paralyzed," Captain Finbooty yelled. Finbooty didn't know that the most unbearable thing in Yizan's life was that someone attacked his own woman. Whether it was verbal or physical attack, in Yizan's eyes, it was an unforgivable felony. His words made Yizan, who was originally in a giggling mentality, completely icy cold, and Nami, who was giggling, looked a little bad. Yizan gently put down Nami in his arms, got up, and walked slowly to Finbooty. With a cold face, he asked word by word, "What did you just say? Can you say it again?" The cold look on Yizan's face would definitely leave immediately if someone he knew saw it. Yizan in this state was an explosive barrel. No, it was a missile to be precise, and it was the kind that had already detonated. "I'm joking." Just as Captain Finbooty spoke, Yizan suddenly raised his foot and kicked away. Boom! The terrifying force instantly kicked Finbooty flying, hitting the wall heavily, with blood splashing like flowers, obviously suffering serious injuries. Yizan didn't kill him with a single blow. In some cases, death was a relief. This person dared to scold Nami. If he just died like this, he would not be able to make Yizan feel at ease. At this moment, Finbooty was lying on the ground in pain. He only felt pain, but this pain made him even more angry. He couldn't understand why he was beaten just by asking the girl's name. Is there still King Law in this world? He endured the excruciating pain and raised his head angrily, only to find that Yizan walked in front of him with gentle steps. "I am sorry, I don't know what's going on. My temper is getting worse and worse. I can't hear anyone calling me a woman." Yizan squatted down with a smile, as if touching a dog, and gently touched Finbooty's brain. Yizan's voice was very soft, and smiling, but in Finbooty's eyes, Yizan's body even exuded a black aura. He squeezed his fist tightly, and finally let out the biggest roar ever. "Bastard, do you know who I am?" "Oh, who are you?" Yizan asked with a smile, in a very casual tone. "I am Captain Finbooty of the East China Sea Naval Division. How dare you attack me? Do you know that you are committing a crime?" "Oh, since I have already committed a crime, then I will continue to commit it." Yizan nodded and raised his foot again. Boom! The terrifying sound of the crash shook the entire restaurant at sea, and Yizan kicked Finbooty away again, smashing a large number of dining tables. Yizan deliberately lowered his attack power just to make Finbooty suffer more. At this moment, Finbooty could barely get up. He half raised his head and saw Yizan's raised foot again. "Stop!" Two voices sounded at the same time, and in the back kitchen, Luffy and Jep came out quickly. Looking at Luffy and Zapu, Yizan just shrugged indifferently, raised his foot, and kicked out again. Boom! The restaurant on the sea shook again. Finbooty's face was full of blood, and everyone looked at Yizan in silence. As the saying goes, it takes 10 years to laugh. I like to laugh, so you should laugh too. Yizan looked at Finbooty with a smile, which was completely different from the violent madness just now. Seeing Yizan's smiling face, Finbooty was finally scared. He smiled reluctantly, and before he smiled for a second, he was slapped by Yizan. Shao, laugh at you being paralyzed. Dare to call me a woman, courting death." Finbooty finally knew why he was beaten so fatly. He wanted to cry. Hey, that's enough for you. Beat people like this, others are Navy captains." Luffy held Yizan, and Yizan laughed subconsciously with his cute look. "Stupid Luffy, he is a Navy, you are a pirate, why are you begging for him? Maybe he will catch you when he meets you." Yizan pulled the corner of Luffy's mouth hard, and instantly pulled his rubber mouth half a meter away. Seeing Luffy's still cute appearance, Yizan smiled and shook his head. What an idiot. Yizan made fun of Luffy, and Luffy became more and more cute. Next to him, Zapu stared at Yizan with a serious face. After a while, he slowly opened his mouth and said, "You are Yizan." Chapter 66 Yuhi Foot Zap. Zap's voice caught everyone's attention in the restaurant, especially Luffy, who blinked a few times in confusion. "Uncle Zap, do you know him?" "I know him, but he doesn't know me." "I don't know you." Seeing that Zapu's image was exactly the same as the original, Yizan chuckled and shook his head. No, you are mistaken about this. Yuhi Zapu, I know you, yours the food was delicious." Quote. Oh, hearing Yizan's words, Zapu was stunned for a moment, and there was a hint of excitement on his face. "I didn't expect the famous demon Yizan to know me, a person who has not been a pirate for more than 10 years. I feel very unexpectedly, and honored." Quote. Devil Yizan. Luffy looked at Yizan strangely, as if thinking of something. He suddenly shouted, his eyes widened, "Uncle Zapu, what did you just say? Are you a pirate?" Hey, this is not what we are discussing now, bastard. Don't go off topic." Luffy's words made everyone in the restaurant complain at the same time, and Jep was also full of black lines, completely speechless to Luffy's brain circuit. "I'm a pirate, but that was 30 years ago." After Jep finished speaking, he looked at Yizan again. "I didn't expect you to come to our shop, and I apologize for the poor reception before." Yuhi's feet. Zapu is a grumpy. Luffy worked here for 2 days, and he knew it perfectly. Not only Luffy, but also the chef of the sea restaurant, Sanji standing in the corner, and the guests of the restaurant, all knew that Jep was grumpy. But now, Jep actually spoke to Yizan with a respectful and cautious attitude, which made everyone feel incredible, but also made Luffy, a super idiot, even more puzzled. Hey, what the hell is going on here? Can you tell me?" Luffy jumped directly between the two of them and shouted. "No." Yizan clasped his arms tightly, not responding to Luffy's impatience. Yizan refused to answer, and suddenly made Luffy sullen. Looking at Luffy's shy look, Zapu's mouth showed a smile. It was really one thing fell into another. Luffy made the whole restaurant on the sea jump. "I didn't expect to be eaten by Yizan, but I think about it, Yizan is so powerful, but he hasn't shown up for too many years." All the old pirates thought that the demon Yizan was dead or something happened, but Zapu unexpectedly, Yizan would appear here. Yizan didn't tell Luffy, which made Luffy's curiosity about to burst. Luffy scurried around like a monkey, his eyes rolled around, and his eyes fell on Zapu. "Uncle Zapu, tell me what happened to Yizan." Zapu looked at Yizan subconsciously, and found that Yizan nodded slightly, and finally calmed down. Yizan existed in the same era as One Piece. Because of some things, Yizan challenged the Navy headquarters alone and destroyed the Navy headquarters by himself. He was not a pirate, nor was he a revolutionary army. Existence. As Jep spoke, his eyes began to become confused. Obviously, during the meeting, he would never forget the day he sat in front of the TV watching the live broadcast of the Navy headquarters. He did not believe that anyone in this world would dare to single out the Navy headquarters. And in the end, what he saw through the TV was the meteorite that covered the sky. Jep spoke slowly, but Luffy didn't have much reaction. After all, he had never personally seen Yizan's strength, and he didn't know much about Yizan's strength. Luffy doesn't know, because he's an idiot with a broken head, but there are so many customers in the restaurant, there is always someone who knows. They looked at Yizan's increasingly familiar face, and finally connected Yizan with the super wanted criminal with a reward of 2 billion. They remembered the meteorite that destroyed the Navy headquarters, and the entire restaurant was bursting. The diners shouted and ran outside, not even paying for the meal, and some of them who didn't know Yizan also found that there was an opportunity. In order to save the meal money, they also ran away with the chaotic crowd. Running out of the restaurant, no one was left behind. In the restaurant, apart from the chef, there were only Yizan, Zoro, Usopp and Luffy. As for the captain who scolded Nami before, he was beaten by Yizan, probably feeding sharks in the sea. "So, you drove all the guests away?" Luffy shouted angrily, pointing at Yizan. As a waiter, he has a commission for his work. In addition to the basic salary, he can also get tips from the guests, which is an important source of income for his debt repayment. Tisk, I'm getting more and more courageous, and you dare to yell at me. I don't want to eat meat in the future. Bastard, I have found a better cook than you, and I will never be tempted by you. Oh, Yizan didn't speak, took out a piece of barbecue and shook it at Luffy. Luffy once again staged the appearance of the puppy 073 wagging his tail and begging for mercy. Hee hee, Yizan threw the barbecue in his hand towards the door, and Luffy flew towards the door as promised. When Luffy was about to bite the piece of barbecue, a hand suddenly appeared at the door, grabbed the barbecue, and quickly stuffed it into his mouth. Ah, Luffy exclaimed, then looked at the person who came. Who are you? Why did you take my food? Huh, when did it become your food? Luffy, didn't you say that you were not bewitched by me? Yizan raised a playful smile at the corner of Yizan's mouth and looked at Luffy. Luffy was stunned when he heard the words, then looked around at him, but didn't explain what he said before. At this moment, the person who stole the barbecue fell directly to the ground and kowtowed his head suddenly. Please forgive me, I'm really hungry. Our pirate ship broke down at sea and I haven't eaten for a long time. I'm very sorry, but please rest assured, I will definitely give you the money. The slightly familiar appearance of the other party made Yizan frown slightly. This person should be called Ajin, and he is a dragon pirate, but the Creek pirates to which he belongs is one of the top pirates in the East China Sea. Chapter 67-Kill Creek. Yizan thought silently. One of the chefs pressed Ajin to the ground and beat him, and Sanji, who had been standing in the corner without speaking, walked into the back kitchen silently, and after a while, Sanji was carrying a large plate of vegetable rice. He walked out slowly. No, here it is. Sanji, what are you doing? He's from the Creek Pirates. I know, but I just did what I was supposed to do. Sanji took a step back silently, took out a cigarette and a lighter, leaned slightly decadently on the Jinchuriki column, was about to light a cigarette, but was caught by Yizan. Grabbed the lighter. Sorry, my wives and I don't like the smell of cigarettes. Yizan casually threw the lighter out of the window, but his words made the group of women behind him dissatisfied. This bastard, who is his wife? Nami's face was full of yuhi, and she waved a small fist at Yizan's back. Humph, Yizan is a bad guy, you are used to it. Alvia glared at Nami lightly. Nami and Robin were usually very kind to Yizan, and that kind of affectionate attitude was completely Yizan's wife. As for Truth Nai. Hee hee, I am. Marina stuck out her tongue with a smile. This girl is quirky and courageous. She wants to go to Yizan's shop to sleep all day long. As for what to do after sleeping. Cough. The girls complained about each other and discussed each other. Here, Zapu stopped the chef and let Sanji pass the food to Akin. Zap also knew that Akin was a member of the Creek Pirates, but he had his own perseverance. Many years ago, Zap and Sanji experienced hunger after the shipwreck. Since then, he has understood food. It is precious and understands how happy it is for a hungry person to have a meal. Soon, Ajin ate all the food, kowtowed heavily, said a lot of nonsense, and left. Yizan knew that Ajin should go back to find Crick and call Crick, who was about to starve to death. Sure enough, it didn't take long for Akin to bring his captain, Click, to the restaurant on the sea where Sanji was. Give. Sanji gave Crick the meal again. And Crick finally showed his evil face after he was full. Boom. With a loud bang, Sanji fell to the ground in pain. Crick stood up with a look on his face, opened his hands and laughed arrogantly. Ha 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 ha. I'm full. I'm full. This sea restaurant, really not bad. You have 5 minutes to get out of here. I want your boat. Crick's sudden change shocked everyone, even Nami and Robin's eyes widened in disbelief. Tisk tisk, the standard farmer and snake. Yizan shook his head with a smile, and hugged the shocked Nami and Robin in his arms, but at this time, Marina came over with a pouting mouth, insisting on occupying Yizan's arms a location. Is it really okay for you to be so leisurely? Alvia walked to Yizan's side and hugged Robin, who was pulled away by the truth. You will attract some hatred like this. Attracting hatred? Who's that shit? It's okay for a clown to be a clown to entertain the audience. If he really wants to find something, I don't mind letting him know why Huar is like Yuhi. Yizan shook his head disdainfully, and his undisguised voice instantly reached Crick's ears. As a pirate, and even a big pirate in the East China Sea, Crick has never suffered such an insult. What did he hear? He was actually called a clown, and he even made fun of the audience. He felt like his head was about to explode. Fury. Go to hell. Crick rushed towards Yizan with a grim expression on his face. Yizan sighed speechlessly, raised his hand that touched the hair of the truth Nai gently, and pointed his index finger at Crick. Like a laser cannon, terrifying chakra fluctuations bloom from your fingertips. Really, now the waste is becoming more and more useless, the strength is slag, and the information obtained is also very backward. If you want to die, then go. Yizan said indifferently, and a terrifying lightning burst from his fingertips in an instant. Boom! The splendid light roared along with the sound of the thunder explosion. The violent sound made everyone cover their ears, and the dazzling thunder also made everyone including Luffy close their eyes subconsciously. I don't know how long it took, the thunder light finally disappeared, everyone opened their eyes tentatively, only to find that there was an extra hole in the wall of the restaurant on the sea, and Crick had disappeared without a trace. Huh, how about the creeks? It's about 100,000 kilometers away. I just deliberately reduced the penetration power of lightning and strengthened the impact force. I'll knock him into the ocean about 100,000 kilometers away, and I'll probably die. Yizan said indifferently, but what he said made everyone sweat profusely. 100,000 kilometers. How far is that? Moreover, Yizan just sat here and raised a finger. At this moment, Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, Sanji and others finally felt the power of Yizan, especially when they recalled the deeds of the demon Yizan mentioned by Yuhi Jep, only to realize that this man who smiles every day and likes to play pranks it seems like a super boss. One blow kills Crick, and the matter here is over. According to the original book, Sanji should join Luffy's pirate group, and then at this moment, Yizan felt a sharp sword intent. Wow! Suddenly there was a violent explosion at sea, followed by a violent shock. Boom! The waves raised more than 10 meters high and slammed over, almost knocking over the restaurant on the sea. The entire restaurant was shaking, and even Alvia, who was standing beside Yizan, fell down with an unstable center of gravity. Be careful. Yizan quickly hugged Alvia, and the concerned eyes moved Alvia very much, but when she felt the warm palm on her butt, her cheek turned Yuhi, and Yizan slapped Yizan. Push away. Bad. Hee. Yizan raised his eyebrows at Alvia with a smile, which made Alvia's cheeks even more dizzy. She simply turned her head away and ignored Yizan, while Yizan directly pulled Via's hand went outside. Let's go. There's a good show outside. Following Yizan's words, everyone followed Yizan and walked outside. As soon as they walked outside, they found that a huge pirate ship was broken into 2 pieces and was slowly sinking into the water. A large number of pirates on the pirate ship wailed. Some pirates chose to jump into the sea ahead of time. They relied on their good water quality, but did not realize that the Uzumaki caused by the sinking of the ship could devour them. Huh, the devil Yizan. Chapter 68 really want to fight. Hokage Mihawk, the world's largest swordsman, one of the 7 seas. At this moment, he was standing in his coffin boat, looking at Yizan with surprise. Oh, you know me. Yizan, who had just left, raised his eyebrows, and before he had time to speak, suddenly, a green body crossed Yizan and rushed to the deck outside in an instant. Hokage Mihawk. Who are you? My name is Zoro, and I am a swordsman. My goal is to become the world's #1 swordsman. Zoro looked at Mihawk with excitement on his face, holding the famous sword at his waist tightly. His performance successfully attracted Mihawk's eyes, and Yizan didn't say anything, just stood silently on the deck, Zoro challenged Mihawk, and Yizan was still a little interested. Like the original book, Sauron challenged Mihawk with enthusiasm. Mihawk did not refuse the challenge, but took out the jewelry knife hanging around his neck. For him, Sauron was just a swordsman from the East China Sea. Well, it is a little stronger than ants. Soon, Zoro and Mihawk began to fight, and the powerful three-knife flow collided with Mihawk's slap jewelry knife, and a faint airflow bloomed in the air. Mihawk used the jewelry knife easily, blocked Soren's attack. Luffy's teammates are so weak. That 087 eagle-like men defeated that person with only a small knife. Nami said while looking at Yizan. Everyone grows from weak to strong, Soren's words. Aptitude is still good. Yizan exclaimed slightly. Soren's talent is not bad in the world of pirates, but he is too young now, and his opponent, the world's greatest swordsman. Hearing Yizan's words, Nami pouted slightly. She hugged Yizan's arm, stood on tiptoe, and put her head next to Yizan's cheek. Brother Zan, what about me? How is my aptitude? Your aptitude is very good. You can be called a super genius. Well, don't think too much, I mean, you are a genius in terms of seducing me. Yizan smirked and hugged Nami, lightly. Light bit on Nami's ear, and suddenly Nami's face was full of yuhi, and she lowered her head shyly. Yizan and Nami were whispering. Here, Zoro and Mihawk have already decided the winner. Zoro lost completely, and Zoro's firm belief also won Mihawk's attention. I'm waiting for you at the position of the world's greatest swordsman. Mihawk said to Zoro, and slowly pulled out the black knife on his back. You won't die with this knife, we will meet again in the future. Whoa! Blood splattered, and Sauron opened his hands to face the black knife slash. He did not feel hopeless, but smiled, and his heart became more and more bloody. Poof! Zoro fell into the sea. Luffy and Usopp immediately launched the rescue, and except for Luffy and Usopp, everyone looked at Hawkeye Mihawk in shock. This was the first time they intuitively felt the power of the #1 swordsman defeated Zoro, the famous bounty hunter in the East China Sea, with a jewelry knife. It was terrifyingly strong. The whole scene fell into silence, and in the silence, a conversation made everyone focus on Yizan. I remember. You said that you are the strongest and most handsome man in the world, and he is the world's largest swordsman. What about you? Robin asked softly, even though she was usually very nice to Yizan, but occasionally when the belly is black, it can produce explosive destructive power. For example, at this moment, Robin let Mihawk and Yizan connect with a casual sentence, and Yizan just poked Robin lightly with his finger and hugged Robin into his arms. Black belly, cause trouble for me all day long, want to see me fight with Mihawk. Cut. Yizan chuckled and glanced at Mihawk casually, I just disdain to compete for the world's first one. Silence. Wanlai was all silent, and everyone turned their attention to the person who said this sentence. You know, this is in front of the real world's greatest swordsman, so saying this is not a joke. Yizan put on an attitude of complete ignorance, which made Mihawk frown. He looked at Yizan silently, and the black knife he just pulled out moved slightly. Why, don't you agree? Do you want to do it? No, I just didn't expect your excellency to be in the East China Sea. Mihawk shook his head and said, but his eyes became more and more sharp like an eagle. There was no anger or hatred, but a fighting intent, a kind of fierceness like Soren's. Fighting intent. I just walked around at will and took a look at the world now. In the end, what should I say? I'm not very satisfied. Yizan quickly turned his wrist and yawned lazily. Listen to my advice and leave the Navy as soon as possible. Stay away and stop being Chiwahai. I heard that there is an emergency call in the Navy. Chiwahai must obey the order of the Navy. Maybe one day, I will overturn the entire Navy. No. Yizan's smiling words were heard by others like a bragging child, and even some people who knew the existence of the demon Yizan didn't think it was true. After all, Yizan's most brilliant time was not now. However, only Hawkeye knows that Yizan's words definitely have that strength and temper. He still remembered that when he first became Chiwahai a few years ago, the Navy once gave him a document. Among the many documents, the one that impressed him the most was Yizan. The devil Yizan, the man with the highest reward in the world, with 2 billion baileys, once destroyed the naval headquarters with his own power, and then left calmly. This is also the reason why Hokage came to the East China Sea. Not only did Hokage come here, but it is said that Garp also came to the East China Sea because of Yizan. You are very strong, I am not your opponent, but I want to challenge you. Hokage Mihawk slowly squeezed the black knife in his hand, which was still stained with Zoro's blood, and he flicked it gently. The blade is restored to cleanliness. You really want to fight? Yizan blinked, and he looked at Mihawk, the eagle eye, so cutely. A cyan hurricane appeared on his finger, and the hurricane frantically surrounded his fingertips. Chapter 69 _ Well-deserved reputation. It was such a simple action, but Hokage Mihawk did not dare to make any movements. As a great swordsman, he had a strong sense of airflow, and he could clearly feel the hurricane on Yizan's fingertips. Scary and powerful. He felt that this hurricane was comparable to his own sword energy, even stronger. As expected of the devil Yizan, his strength is really extraordinary. Mihawk thought to himself, but the black knife in his hand slowly lifted. However, how do you know if you don't try? Thinking of this, his eyes became sharper. He didn't continue to speak. He knew that if he continued to consume it like this, his fighting spirit would be completely shattered by Yizan. Swish. Black light flashed. Mihawk rushed towards Yizan. Yizan chuckled, and a golden force field spread out. Give me face and commit suicide. The golden force field enveloped Mihawk, which made Hokage Mihawk feel a little strange. After he wrote down Yizan's strange words in his heart, he did not answer. After all, it was suicide. The use of the fruit ability failed, and the golden force field changed to Yuhi color. Seeing this, Yizan knew that this fight must be fought. 6 paths mode. Snapped. Yizan slapped his hands, and the holy white robe was burning with dazzling special effects. There were many black strips scattered on the white robe, and the black tomo at the neckline was evenly arranged, and the mysterious and powerful atmosphere instantly spread all around. Ha! Yizan snorted softly and came to Hokage in an instant. The black knife swayed softly with a light like autumn water, which turned out to be shot on Yizan. With Yizan's forward thrust, Mihawk pulled back and avoided Yizan's fist. Quote exclamation mark. Yizan looked at Hokage Mihawk in amazement. He didn't expect that the black knife could be used like this. Using softness to overcome rigidity. So, what about this? After Yizan finished speaking, 9 Gudodama truth-seeking ball flashed. Swish. A whimpering wind made the black Gudodama truth-seeking ball attack directly towards Hokage Mihawk. Feeling the invisible ability in Gudodama truth-seeking ball, Mihawk's face changed again. Using the strange blow just now, the blade slapped on Gudodama truth-seeking ball, and with the strength of Gudodama truth-seeking ball, it retreated violently and left the attack range. Well, in terms of strength, it is indeed very good to overcome the rigidity with softness, so what about the speed? The art of Hiraishin. Following Yizan's words, Yizan instantly appeared behind Hokage Mihawk, and the Gudodama truth-seeking ball in his hand attacked directly behind Hokage Mihawk. At the moment when Yizan disappeared, Hokage slashed behind him with a black knife at an extremely fast speed. The response is good, but it doesn't seem to work. At the moment when the black knife was about to hit him, Yizan used Hiraishin's technique to come to Hawkeye's side again. Boom! Hokage Mihawk tried his best to dodge, and finally blocked Gudodama truth-seeking ball with a black knife when the army was ready. Gollum smashed into the sea. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned, and Zoro was even more speechless when he watched all this. Yizan is very powerful, this is everyone's description of Yizan, but this description is so pale and powerless. However, there is a comparison, it will be more powerful. Hawkeye's bloody abuse against Sauron before, let everyone know how powerful Hawkeye is. The aftermath of the battle, that scene, shocked everyone's eyes. However, Hawkeye even took out the black knife, and when he dealt with Yizan, he flew out instantly after just a few face-to-face efforts. There was no battle scene, no aftermath of the battle, and not even many moves were seen. So strong. Luffy and Usopp opened their mouths blankly, completely stupid. So strong. Sanji even lost his cigarette. Yizan stole his lighter before, and he said he wanted to take revenge, but now, he just felt cold all over, but fortunately he was slow. If at that time, I rushed over to take revenge, and I have already entered the sea to feed the sharks. Everyone was shocked by Yizan's strength. At this moment, Mihawk also quickly rushed out of the sea. As the world's largest swordsman, he is not only powerful in swordsmanship, but also in physical skills, and even stealthily learned 6 naval styles. It's just that it never shows up. Shave. With a flash of his figure, he stood on a driftwood on a boat board. He looked at Yizan with some embarrassment, but he was so shocked by Yizan's strength that he couldn't help it. Devil Yizan, his name is well deserved. This time, Hokage experienced Yizan's strength firsthand. Compared with the information given by the Navy, he finally understood why Yizan could single out the Navy headquarters. He still remembers that at the end of the information, the Navy gave what a profound comment. Be the first to save lives, notify the headquarters as much as possible, and put encirclement and suppression first. This is a comment made by the Navy on the document. The kind of fear revealed between the lines made Hokage show a strong fighting intent, but at this moment, his fighting intent was shattered by Yizan. I lost. Mihawk said softly, and slowly put away the black knife. The difference in strength between the two sides is too great. He can't parry with Yizan's current strength, not to mention Yizan's other abilities. Yizan is a super strong man who can summon meteorites. Hokage conceded defeat and Yizan won the duel. Looking at the orange skill book that burst out from Hokage's body, Yizan nodded with satisfaction. Mihawk left. Left with the embarrassment of defeat. But before he left, he still made a promise to Yizan to fight again when he was stronger. This is no problem, anyway, you are all scum, even if you become stronger, it's just a stronger scum tilde. Yizan's words made Mihawk's face full of grievances. He vowed to himself that he must practice harder and become stronger. Mihawk left, the dispute over the restaurant at sea ended, and at Luffy's invitation, Sanji boarded Luffy's ship. The Golden Mary set sail again, and then Sanji was shocked to find that the terrifyingly powerful Yizan came up with that group of beauties. Chapter 70-Luffy and Sanji Who Doubt Life. Aboard the Golden Mary. Sanji, smoking a cigarette, looked at Luffy with a hopeless expression on his face. Luffy, you said that this ship is divided into 2 areas, and the other one is the beautiful area over there. Luffy also looked at Sanji with the same look of hopelessness, and nodded. Although he is not a crew member on my ship, I also want to drive him away, but after leaving Nami next to him, I will find him. There are not so many navigators. Sanji nodded in agreement with Luffy's words. I also want to drive him away. How can a man occupy so many beautiful women? Luffy and Sanji looked at each other sympathetically, choked with tears, and wept each other. The touching scene was really heart-wrenching for those who heard it and those who heard it. Excluding the 2 men hugging each other, it was full of love. Outside the screen. Hey, so Luffy and Sanji actually like men. At this time, Nami's words made Luffy and Sanji separate like lightning at the same time. No, the 2 said in unison. Don't say no, the cooperation is so good, isn't it that you have a good understanding of each other? Nami's words made both of them shake their heads one after another. Although Luffy doesn't really like things between men and women, he definitely won't like it. A man, and Sanji doesn't need to say more, he is a person who likes beautiful women very much. Nami's words made the 2 anxious to defend themselves, but in the end they found that the description was getting darker. Is this really okay? Robin asked Yizan, looking at him. What could be wrong? Yizan pouted, looking at Luffy and Sanji who were anxious to explain. He definitely did not admit that he was a little gloating when he saw the embarrassment of these 2 people. I really don't like Sanji, Luffy. Luffy and Sanji, who were finally in a hurry, shouted at Nami in unison. Hey! Nami nodded casually and said perfunctorily, I know. Nami's apparent disbelief made both Luffy and Sanji want to cry. At this time, Luffy and Sanji turned around, but they happened to see Zoro and Usopp's wide eyes. You two, listen to my explanation. Sanji and Luffy said in unison again. Hey, we understand, we know, we won't despise you. Usopp's and Nami's identical expressions made Zoro nodded in agreement. Quote. In the end, both Sanji and Luffy had no choice but to give up this increasingly dark debate. There was no way for Luffy and Sanji to find out that almost no one on the whole boat believed that they were innocent. Yizan saw that the two wanted to separate himself from him like this. How can this be done? Well, I believe you two are innocent. Yizan stood up and said to Sanji and Luffy. In an instant, the two of them seemed to be illuminated by a ray of warm sunlight in the cold winter, and looked at Yizan almost crying. Really? Yizan was extremely sure. Really? Those sincere eyes, if Nami and Robin didn't know Yizan's bad taste, they would definitely believe Yizan's words. However, Nami and Robin know that it is possible to make Yizan's bad taste disappear. Huh, that's good, tell them quickly, let them know we're innocent. Sanji hurriedly said to Yizan. Luffy also nodded quickly. Yizan nodded, then said to everyone, what I said just now is false. Huh. I can be quite sure that there is absolutely no purity between the two of them. You see, they are still holding hands. Yizan said with certainty. Well, this time, there were still some who didn't quite believe it, but Usopp and Zoro, who were just playing around at random, also believed it a little bit, and they couldn't help but take a step back and looked at the two of them alertly. Yizan, you. Yizan waved his hand. Hey, I forgot to say it. What I just said to lie to you is also false. Yizan's words gave Luffy and Sanji a sigh of relief. Well, but, I prefer to lie, so what I said last sentence is also false. Yizan made up with a smile. In an instant, the 10,000 point psychic damage from the crit made Luffy and Sanji cry. Oh dear, don't cry, Yizan said to Luffy and Sanji in a tone of comforting children. We didn't cry. Yizan nodded, expressing his agreement with the words of the two, and then. Sao Nyen, don't cry, stand up. Be brave and be a cuddling baby. Critical damage doubles instantly. We're not. The two roared. Yizan came to the two of them and looked at them seriously. You guys, this is not a shameful thing, why don't you admit it? Okay, let me ask you an answer, how is it? The two nodded pitifully. Well, then, first of all, Luffy, you look at Sanji, do you hate him? Yizan's words made Luffy look at Sanji. Luffy is a straight person. Yizan's words made Luffy shake his head and say truthfully, I don't hate it. That's good, then I like it. Yizan came to a conclusion. Wait, it's not. I asked, you just need to answer. Yizan interrupted Luffy's words. Then, he turned his head to look at Sanji. So, Sanji, what about you? Do you want to go to sea with Luffy? Tell the truth. This, it seems, like. Look, that's not it. Yizan spread his hands. No, we. Yizan interrupted the two again. Okay, then I'll ask another question. As Yizan said, he performed a clone technique plus transformation technique, and turned into a very ugly fat ant. So ugly, the two said in unison. Yizan pointed to the fat ant and asked 0.8 to the two of them. Then, now give the two of you a choice. In the next voyage, if you replace the other with such a fat ant, you will choose the fat ant. Or choose to keep the status quo. No, we. You just need to answer. The two said weakly, keep it as it is. Yizan dismissed the clone technique and transformation technique at will, and said to the two, look, this is the result. You prefer handsome men to ugly women. Boom, boom. Luffy and Sanji were finally broken by Yizan. They fell on the deck and looked at the sky dumbly. Hey, Sanji, do you think we're really that? Looks like, isn't it? Chapter 71 _ Nami is homesick. The Golden Mary was sailing on the sea, the bright sunshine, the soft sea breeze accompanied the waves in the air, a few seagulls chased and chirped happily in the stern, and from time to time a fish jumped out from the stern. Yizan squinted his eyes and basked in the sun comfortably on the observation deck. The girls wore bikinis to accompany them. Because the observation deck was too high, Yizan could not be seen at the bow of Luffy and Sanji. Zoro is still hiding in the training room to practice, and Usopp is also making slingshots in his own bedroom. Everything seems comfortable. The only difference is Luffy and Sanji. These two idiots really believed in Yizan's words. They looked at each other stupidly, and even now they still doubted that they liked men. In fact, Yizan took advantage of Luffy's uprightness. The previous question was a psychological suggestion. If all the questions were answered by someone else, it would probably be the same answer, but Luffy and Sanji had already been made a little dizzy before. With his brain swelled, coupled with his upright temperament, he jumped straight into the pit dug by Yizan. Although the pit was not too deep, it was unexpectedly useful. Brother Zan, you are really good or bad, just a simple sentence, you will make them not believe in life. Nami sat on the edge of the observation deck, looking at Luffy and Sanji on the deck below, her eyes were full of with a hint of curiosity. That's natural, I spent a lot of brain cells to make them like this. Only in this way can I rest assured of your safety. After all, what corresponds to Sanji's cooking skills is the lust of this guy. Yizan said casually, apparently deliberately pitting Sanji, trying to bend Sanji. Luffy was heartless. Although he was trapped by Yizan, it didn't take long for Luffy to return to normal. Instead, it was Sanji. As a person with a delicate mind, he has completely fallen into a dead end and cannot extricate himself. Bending Sanji, Yizan couldn't help but feel proud of his conspiracy. He looked at Nami shyly, and unexpectedly found that Nami's mood didn't seem too high. Nami, what's wrong with you? Yizan asked, looking at Nami who was a little unhappy. No, it's fine. Nami hurriedly smiled, but her smile was far-fetched. Yizan didn't understand, but Robin reacted. She gave Yizan a light pinch and whispered, Brother Zan, you idiot, you are very smart, you can't guess it. Nami has been out for so long and feels homesick. Robin's words made Yizan stunned, and then he remembered that Nami had indeed been away from home for a long time, and, because of her own reasons, Nami had never been separated from her family for too long, and it was natural to be homesick. Thinking of this, Yizan's heart was full of pity, and he pulled Nami into his arms. In an instant, Nami Lihua burst into tears. Brother Zan, I miss home. Nami said with a weeping voice. Although I was very happy to follow Yizan, I also saw many things that ordinary people can't see, but Nami also really missed New Ouchigao and Belmer. Then let's go back. Yizan gently kissed Nami's forehead. Wait until you see New Ouchigao and Belmer. If you want to continue to come out, then come out. Yes, anyway, our purpose is to play, it's the same wherever we go. Robin followed, and her words were unanimously approved by all the girls. Let's go to Nami's hometown to play. Kia, you may not know that Nami's hometown is very close to your hometown Tilda. Oh, is it Coco West Village? Hey, you know that. Going to Nami's hometown, of course not on the Golden Mary. Yizan probed and asked all the below to come up, and then asked the girls to change into bikinis and put on ordinary clothes, and a golden force field spread out. Space, give me face, and go to where Bellmeyer and Nakigao are. After Yizan finished speaking, the golden force field instantly wrapped everyone on the observation deck, and the next second, the space channel opened, and everyone was taken away in an instant. Yizan left with the women like this, which made Luffy on the deck below his face bewildered. He shouted, but only a bunch of beach chairs were left on the observation deck. What's wrong? Hearing Luffy's shout, Usopp and Zoro thought that something had happened and quickly walked out of the cabin. Yizan and Nami disappeared. Luffy said loudly, his face full of depression. Hearing Luffy's words, Usopp's eyes widened instantly. He covered his head exaggeratedly, and said excitedly, "What did you say? Nami is gone. Then how do we sail?" "Sauron, talk to me," Usopp shouted, looking at Sauron who didn't care. Zoro put down the exercise equipment and said to Usopp, "It doesn't matter, if you don't have a navigator, go to her." "Yes. Look for her." Everyone looked at each other, but decided to find Nami. "I remember Nami said before that her hometown seems to be in a place called Kokoyashi Village." Following Luffy's words, Usopp also went to the study and took out the nautical chart. The Golden Mary turned its bow and headed towards Kokoyashi Village. Here, when Yizan brought the girls to Belmer and Nuochigao by teleportation through space, he unexpectedly discovered that the surrounding environment was not a familiar village at all, but upon closer inspection, it was a bit like a navy's territory. Where is this?" "A rough estimate, probably a naval base." "Yizan." The appearance of Yizan and the girls surprised Belmer and Nuochigao, and they were also full of doubts. "How did you get in?" Bermel quickly came to the door, glanced around, and hurriedly closed the door. "Where is this place?" Yizan wandered around the room in confusion. This room should be a standard room, probably on the 3rd floor. Looking out through the window, he could see a few Navy soldiers walking in a hurry. "This is the Navy headquarters," Belmel said, pouring a cup of tea for the girls. "Navy headquarters? What's the situation? Aren't you and Nakigao in Koko West Village? Why did you come to the Navy headquarters?" "It's a long story, just sit down and talk." Following Bermel's words, everyone sat down slowly. Chapter 72 New Devil Fruit. It started when you left. After you left, the news spread that Nami was with you. They found us from Nami's line and brought me and Nokigao back to the Navy headquarters, but they didn't do anything to us. They just didn't allow us to leave, and asked us if we would like to become a Navy. You know, I used to be a Navy member of the East China Sea Naval Branch, and now I get free from the headquarters elite training. My heart is willing. Belmer said slowly. In fact, she initially thought the Navy would do something to him, but in fact it didn't. Hearing Bermel's words, Yizan's eyes became more and more puzzled. What does Sengoku mean? Do you want to use tenderness or brainwashing to tie Belmel and Nakigao to the Navy headquarters, but let them become the Navy? But no matter what, I have a hostile relationship with the Navy. It's not good to keep Belmer and Nakigao here. Although they have a defensive sealing technique in their hearts, if the two women are brainwashed by the Navy, it is not a defensive sealing technique. Can be stopped. Yizan was still thinking, and beside him, Nuochigao gently tugged at the corner of his shirt. Brother Zan, please leave quickly, it will be bad if the Navy finds out. Although Nuochigao knew that Yizan was strong, she had no idea how strong she was. In those years in Kokoyashi Village, Yizan never showed her strength, but when she came to the Navy headquarters, she saw many powerful captains, and she even saw 2 brigadiers compete with her own eyes. The terrifying power made she understood the power contained in the naval headquarters. Looking at Nuochigao's worried eyes, Yizan rubbed her hair with a smile and hugged her in his arms. Don't worry, I'm 10,000 times stronger than you think. I really don't pay attention to the mere naval headquarters, Yizan said, and turned his eyes to Belmer. After a decision, I decided to make you stronger. Sengoku brought you to the headquarters, although I don't understand what he meant, but to be on the safe side, you also need some self-protection ability. Yizan's words made Belmer stunned for a moment, but he said with a wry smile, our qualifications are too poor, we can't do it. It doesn't matter if the aptitude is poor, as long as you work hard, all this is not a big problem in my opinion. Yizan rubbed Nuochigao's hair again, and the golden force field spread. Wait here, I'll be back soon. Space, give me a face, teleport to 9 Snake Island. 9 Snake Island is still quiet and pleasant. Although Hancock accepted the invitation of the Navy to become the Empress a few years ago, the Navy has not disturbed Hancock these years. Next to 9 Snake Island, a huge tree is over 100 meters high, with lush branches and leaves, full of vitality. Under the tree is a new island, with an area only about 1/3 of Nine Snake Island, but because of Yizan, the island is now gradually becoming popular. This island built by Yizan is called New Nine Snake Island, and as Hancock insists on moving into New Nine Snake Island, more and more female warriors live in New Nine Snake Island, and more the baby girl was sent to the New Nine Snake Island for education. After all, the aesthetics of Nine Snake Island are now normal, and it is not based on strength, because in Nine Snake Island, it is actually very simple to get power. The thing, that is, the divine tree. The women of Nine Snake Island all know that this divine tree will bear a devil fruit every once in a while, and devil fruit is the easiest thing in this world to get power. Empress, the new devil fruit fighters have not been discovered until now. We have been arresting devil fruit fighters in recent years, and the devil fruit fighters have been terrified of our 9 snake pirates. There is a little movement, all one by one. Escaped without a trace. Then hide your identities and catch them. Those who want to escape from the devil fruit don't need to be caught in the future. If they run, they will just kill them. Hancock's domineering voice made the body of the woman below tremble. Iya, Hancock-chan, so domineering, I'm relieved to see you so domineering. At this time, a joking man's voice sounded, and the female guard beside Hancock instantly surrounded the figure, and all kinds of rapid attacks in his hands attacked the man. Stop, Hancock's voice sounded nervous. The numerous attacks stopped in front of the man in an instant. It's really grown up, Hancock, the man said with a smile, and came to Hancock in a flash. Brother Zahn. Hancock's tears fell instantly, and he flew into Yizan's arms. Okay, don't I come here often? Why do I still cry? Yizan looked at Hancock with a smile. All this caused many women around to stare at Hancock blankly. Hancock's power and domineering are well known to these people. It can be said that Hancock is a real emperor. Kun's domineering in the world has made the 9 snake pirates and even 9 Snake Island by Hancock. In one hand. In this case, Hancock is definitely a one-of-a-kind existence. The huge authority brings Hancock's temperament that no strangers can enter. The Emperor's temperament makes everyone who sees Hancock terrified. And now, what did you and others see? The Queen is crying like a little girl in a man's arms. I must be dazzled. All women thought the same thing. However, what happened next exceeded everyone's expectations. I saw that Yizan grabbed Hancock's butt with both hands, and acted recklessly. Well, the soft voice was full of temptation. Hancock opened his mouth slightly, stood on tiptoe, and took the initiative to purse Yizan's lips. All women are terrified. Impossible. This is the only thought in the hearts of all women. You know, that is the Empress. How is it possible? I want to. Well, this time, there was only one thought in the minds of the shocked women, and that was, who is this man? Ah, baby, this time I came here because I have something to do. When I have time next time, choose a good place and we will spend a romantic night alone. Tilda. Chapter 73 controlled a building with demonic illusion. No way, Belmer and Nochigao didn't take care of themselves, and if something went wrong, it would be very troublesome. Brother Zahn, what's the matter? Hearing Yizan's words, Hancock instantly regained the appearance of a strong female empress. Although there was still a hint of Yuhi on his face, his temperament was already that of an empress. Yizan, his eyes widened in an instant, because the temperament of the empress, combined with the appearance of the empress being disheveled because of her previous actions, created a charm that surpassed the sky. I really want to eat Hancock. Yizan thought in his heart that he was going to eat Hancock after a while, but for now, he still needs to settle the matter of Belmer first. Oh, by the way, Brother Zahn, look, this is the devil fruit illustration book I made. In addition to the original devil fruit, I also added some devil fruits. Hancock looked at Yizan as if taking credit. Yizan's eyes lit up. Just right, show it to me, I'll pick some devil fruits later. Picking devil fruits. For my sisters. Hancock glanced at Yizan and thought for a while before guessing what Yizan was thinking. Well, give them food to strengthen their strength. Yi-zan nodded. Hearing 227 Yi-zan's words, Hancock quickly flipped the Devil Fruit Pokédex to a section. Brother Zan, this is a part of the devil fruits that I have selected that are very suitable for sisters to eat. Yi-zan flipped through the devil fruits illustration, but found that Hancock was really attentive. Part is cosmetic, part is strength, and part is both. That's great. Thank you for your hard work, Hancock. Yi-zan looked at Hancock in surprise. He rubbed Hancock's hair with satisfaction, making Hancock face a smirk appeared in an instant. Brother Zan, these devil fruits are all in the treasury tilde. Because of Hancock's preparation, this time Yi-zan came over very conveniently and quickly selected a few devil fruits. Hancock, I'm leaving, there's something else over there. Hancock nodded. Well, be careful. Yi-zan kissed Hancock distress-edly, the golden force field spread, and he used the ability of the face fruit again to return to the naval headquarters. Belmer, Nuaochigao, discuss these devil fruits with each other and choose 2 of them to eat. Here are the devil fruit illustrations, you can choose by yourself. Yi-zan put a bunch of devil fruits on the table with a smile on his face. So many devil fruits made the 2 women widen their eyes in shock. As soldiers of the Navy headquarters, they have learned a lot over the years, such as the value of devil fruits. They didn't refuse Yi-zan's offer. To be precise, Belmer had actually liked Yi-zan for a long time, and Nuaochigao, because of Loli's cultivation, also fell in love with Yi-zan. I choose this, the animal-type devil fruit, the phantom beast, the Cerberus. Nuaochigao said as he picked up a devil fruit. Nuaochigao didn't know that the moment she picked up the Cerberus fruit, she officially stepped into another direction of life. In the future, Nuaochigao, the devil dog known as the devil Kiba-tooth, started from this moment. Birth. Then I'll choose this one, Superman, Link fruit. Belmer picked up a very ordinary-looking devil fruit. Belmer chose the superhuman connection fruit and Yi-zan nodded, but he disagreed. Although the connection fruit is good, its shortcomings are also obvious. The connection fruit, Yi-zan also took a look at this devil fruit. It is indeed a very good superhuman-type devil fruit. It can connect oneself and the enemy. When attacking the other party, you can cancel the connection, and when you can't avoid the other party's attack, you can instant connection, directly offset half of the damage, and this half of the damage will be fed back to the other party. Seriously, Link fruit is a very good devil fruit, but on the other hand, Link fruit also has its disadvantages, that is, the development speed of devil fruit ability is very slow. Not only that, but the biggest disadvantage of the connection fruit is that it cannot connect to existences that are much higher than their own combat power. You should know that this connection fruit has no effect on people who are much higher than you in combat. Yi-zan said slowly to Belmer. Belmer looked at Yi-zan strangely. I have never thought of using this devil fruit to deal with high-end combat power. Even if we are practicing hard, it is difficult to surpass you, and even to catch up with you. So, this connection fruit, I am going to help you eliminate all low-end combat power. Yi-zan was stunned by Belmer's words. He really didn't expect her to think like this. If this is the case, the connection fruit is indeed very good. In this case, it is indeed a good choice. Following Yi-zan's words, Belmer also swallowed the connection fruit. Okay, that's it. Whether the navy or strength is good, put it aside for the time being. Nami misses you, so we came to find you. We will probably stay here for a few days. As for your activities, Yi-zan thought about it and decided to use demonic illusion to control the building directly. It is impossible for so many women to squeeze into a small room. After using demonic illusion control, women can move freely in the building. With Yi-zan's strength, it was easy to control this building. Soon, the girls ran to the kitchen on the first floor to bring something to eat, such as barbecue, fruit, drinks, and soon they brought a large table of food. Return. So, is it really okay for you to go to the kitchen to steal things like this? Humph. Smelly dad, you used demonic illusion to control this building in an upright manner, and it was all your instigation. I just control these navies, but that doesn't mean stealing to eat, thief. I'm a thief. Not only will I steal food, but one day, I will steal your heart. Smelly dad, sleep with me tonight. Huh. Yizan and the girls played happily in the naval headquarters, but on the other side, Luffy ran into trouble. Kokoyashi village is almost here. Is Nami really there? Of course, Nami said that her hometown is in Kokoyashi village. Luffy sat on the bow with a face full of excitement. In order to find the navigator, he and Usopp, two parallel imports, struggled to drive the Golden Mary. It took a whole day of hardships to reach the destination. Then, they were surrounded by dozens of warships. Chapter 74-Fearless Luffy. Why are we surrounded? I don't know, are they here to arrest us? Looking at the dozen or so warships that came around, Luffy's mouth cracked into a bright smile, and then, Usopp didn't react, he stood directly on the bow. Hey, are you here to catch me? I called Luffy, the future One Piece. Originally many warships that were not ready to fly. After hearing Luffy's words, several warships jumped guns and started shelling the Golden Melly. Ah, yeah. In an instant, Luffy shouted in excitement and ran away. Yes, although Luffy can resist some cannonballs, he still has to escape. After all, once surrounded, it will be very troublesome, so although Luffy is very arrogant, he still escapes in the end. With the help of everyone, Luffy easily escaped from the shelling range of many warships, and many warships did not have any intention to pursue them. The orders received by these warships were very clear, and they surrounded the entire Koko West village. In fact, it was accurate. In other words, the actions of shelling Luffy just now were against the order. It was because Luffy was too embarrassed that he was shelled. Sanji looked at the warships surrounding Koko Nishimura not far away, looked at Luffy solemnly and asked, I don't know who the targets of these warships are, but it is certain that they have something to do with Koko Nishimura. Luffy, let's go, so many warships are really scary. Usopp said to Luffy. Luffy looked at the many warships with a smile on the corner of his mouth. No, it's just fun, besides, Nami is still on the island. Luffy's words made Usopp look around him. Well, I have a disease that will kill me when I go to the island. Usopp said shiveringly. Go. However, Luffy directly ignored Usopp's words, waved his hand, and the Golden Melly set off again. Ah, don't, Usopp yelled, and the boat continued to rush towards the village of Koko West. Boom boom. In the huge sound of shelling, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji continued to use their own methods to knock the shells that hit the Golden Melly into the air. In the terrifying firepower network, the Golden Melly rode the wind and waves and entered the Koko West village. I didn't expect that we actually came in. Usopp looked at the many warships docked on the sea without any movement, and said with lingering fears. Sanji shook his head. It's not that simple. The main reason why we were able to pass the blockade of the warships was that a large part of these warships did not fire at all. It should be because of their respective missions. Never mind. Go have a big meal first. Luffy shouted and quickly left the Golden Melly, heading towards Kokoyashi village. The crowd followed closely into the Koko West village, and as soon as they entered the Koko West village, everyone was a little dumbfounded. In the small Koko West village, the number of navies was too much, no matter where they were or what they knew. Or the Dark Navy is wandering. This made Luffy and Sanji extremely strange in their hearts. Let's go, let's eat. Following Luffy's shouting, everyone headed towards the restaurant. During the meal, Luffy and others finally knew the purpose of these navies coming here. Yizan. Luffy and the others looked at each other and saw the doubts in each other's eyes one after another. Everyone knew how powerful these navies would be if they attacked one person or even one force with all their strength. It doesn't matter, but I didn't expect it to be related. Trouble. Sanji and Zoro thought so. And Luffy was instantly excited. Great, this is fun. Usopp shivered and said, let's go. In the end, everyone still did not leave Kokoasia West village. On the contrary, they searched for Yizan and Nami in the entire Kokoasia village. Originally, there was nothing to do, but Luffy's character was a huge trouble. There are good people and bad people, and this applies at any time. The Navy is one of the most powerful forces in One Piece, and there are naturally many bad people in it. Among the many navies in Cocoa West Village, there are also some not-so-good people. These navies are in Cocoa. Yaxi Village is rampant with impunity. Stop. Luffy stopped an admiral from bullying a woman. Who are you? Mind your own business. Following the words of the admiral, the conflict between Luffy and the Navy slowly unfolded. Luffy is not a person who gives in at will, and the admiral of the Navy is relying on his own power to not give in an inch, and the conflict between the two escalates rapidly. The entire Cocoa West Village was quickly disturbed. Of course, the reason was that Luffy's search for Nami was seen by some senior Navy officers in Cocoa West Village. In order to find Yizan, many navies were ready to start arresting Luffy. For a time, the entire Cocoa West Village was caught in a turbulent situation. Luffy and the Navy fought fiercely in Cocoa West Village. On the other side, the Navy headquarters, Yizan and the girls lived a leisurely life. One thing Yizan forgot, he used demonic illusion to control the Navy of the entire building, but the Navy headquarters, not just this building. Just after a day, someone found something wrong. Who are you? This is a captain. He lives in another building. There is a Navy in this building who is his younger brother. After he found something wrong, he brought a group of Navy to the building. Ah, it's really troublesome. Yizan said casually, his body changing rapidly. Since it is discovered, there is no need to hide it. If one person finds out, there will be a second person. Eventually, more and more people will find out. In this case, it is better to show your identity directly. Yizan lazily cancelled the demonic illusion, including the demonic illusion on his own face. Devil Yizan. A group of Navy instantly recognized Yizan's appearance. Their eyes widened in shock, and their pupils were full of panic. Chapter 75-Akainu's Revenge. The reason why Sengoku let Belmer and Nuachigao stay here is because of Yizan. So many members of the naval headquarters around the two women are far more familiar with Yizan than ordinary people. Someone. A huge scream quickly came out of the admiral's mouth. Do you think it's useful to come to these people? Yizan's mouth cracked into a smile, and he took the girls out of the room and walked out of the room quietly. After seeing Yizan, everyone invariably gave way. The way the Navy headquarters treated Yizan was to besiege without attacking and wait for the arrival of high-end combat power. What should I do? Belmer and Nuachigao asked worriedly as they watched many navies slowly surround Yizan. What's the hurry? Yizan took the girls lightly, and slowly walked out of the naval headquarters amid the encirclement of many navies. However, as the saying goes, people die for money and birds die for food, and there are always some people who don't understand reality. When Yizan walked like this, it felt as if he saw hundreds of millions of berries walking in front of him. Soon a navy could not bear the power and wealth brought by killing and capturing Yizan. I killed you. Following a sentence, a figure attacked directly towards Yizan. Huh. Yizan glanced at the navy, and he didn't even have the strength to use the face fruit, and used a demonic illusion at will, which directly made the navy unconscious. Funny. Yizan said something casually and moved on. However, once something has a beginning, there will be too many followers. Go on. Kill him and everything. Following the messy calls of the navy, many navies quickly attacked Yizan. Humans are just not greedy enough. Yizan said casually, looking around. Give me a face, get out of here, get away as far as you want. Following Yizan's words, a golden force field enveloped everyone present, and in an instant, all the navy fled away. Look, Nuachigao, these lieutenant-level navies are not worth mentioning in front of me. Sengoku arrived at the scene with Akainu and a group of lieutenant generals. When they arrived, Yizan and the girls just walked out of the building gate. The two teams happened to be collided. Yo, a cute dog came over with his own dog. Yizan looked at Sengoku and Akainu with a smile and said casually, the teasing in his words was very obvious. Yizan's words made Sengoku a little unhappy, but he didn't react. After all, so many people were watching, and since what happened that year, he changed his plan. Compared with the encirclement and suppression plan formulated by Marshal Kong, it is now the one of the Admiral of the Navy. Sengoku reenacted the Wairo means. Because of Wairu's methods, Sengoku has not touched Nuochigao and Belmer all these years. Of course, if the two women can use their power to change Yizan's attitude towards the Navy, that would be the best. A wise man has a lot of thoughts, and he will fail. Sengoku's plan is very good. If the Navy does not take the initiative to deal with Yizan, Yizan will not bother to be an enemy of the Navy, but he forgot one thing, he forgot that there was a mad dog beside him. Yizan, you'd better capture it with your hands, otherwise, we won't guarantee the safety of the two of them. Akainu stared at Yizan with a gloomy face, exuding terrifying heat. Compared to when O'Hara met, Akainu stared at Yizan coldly. The current strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. He hates Yizan not only because Yizan violated his inner justice, but also because Yizan broke his hand. Over the years, Akainu has been training hard like crazy, and his strength is stronger than the original. It is recognized as the strongest among the three major naval admirals, and can even fight Chingzi Kizaru alone. All of this is because of hatred, because of the hatred of the broken arm back then. Yizan didn't know this. He found that the red dog was staring at him like a mad dog. He just smiled and hugged Belmer and Nuochi in his arms. Don't guarantee the safety of the two of them. Just rely on your dog. He. Then you try, as long as you dare to move, I dare not guarantee, can you leave the other hand tilde? Akainu, don't shoot. Marshal, don't stop me, I've been waiting for this day for too long. Today, I will die or he will die. I want to avenge my dignity. Under Yizan's inexplicable gaze, Akainu burned with terrifying magma, turned around and punched Sengoku in the abdomen. As the strongest of the three generals, Akainu's strength far surpassed the original, so Sengoku couldn't react at all. He never thought that Akainu would attack him. Not only that, Akainu suddenly attacked Sengoku with this punch, but he didn't hold back at all. The fist that was burning with magma slammed into the unsuspecting Sengoku, injuring Sengoku's internal organs and sending it flying hundreds of meters. Fell to the ground. Akainu is crazy. This was the first reaction in everyone's head. Yizan looked at Akainu in astonishment, while Akainu smiled grimly, and suddenly took out a remote control from his arms. Yizan, do you know what this is? This remote control is the bomb I buried in the two of them. It is the bomb of the highest technology crystallized by the Navy headquarters. You'd better capture the biological bomb that cannot be taken out, otherwise. Akainu, you're crazy, Sengoku yelled, blood dripping from the corners of his mouth. He tightly clutched his abdomen and stood up staggeringly. His abdomen was bloody and severely injured. He never imagined that Akainu had planted bombs in Belmer and Nuochigao. After a long period of analysis and inference, he and staff had formulated a policy of empathy for Yizan, but now, all are Akainu destroyed. At this moment, Yizan didn't care about Sengoku's soft policy. Seeing the remote control in Akainu's hand, Yizan's face suddenly turned cold. Kill you. Yizan didn't hold back at all this time, teleported to Akainu with the technique of Hiraishin, waved his hand and grabbed the remote control. Keeping you is always a scourge, die. After grabbing the remote control, Yizan didn't stop, clenched his right fist tightly, covered with a layer of purple-black, armament. Hokage did his best. Chapter 76-Akainu, die. Boom. With a loud bang, a large amount of magma exploded, and Akainu, who subconsciously evaded with elementalization, flew out and fell to the ground ruthlessly. Seriously injured. You're right, either you died or I died today. Yizan looked at Akainu coldly. The terrifying aura constantly shattered the surrounding 100-meter earthquake. Yizan, show mercy, Akainu didn't do it on purpose. At this moment, Sengoku clutched his stomach and came out to smooth the field, but Yizan just gave Sengoku a cold look, and the 6 paths level killing intent instantly shocked Sengoku. Before, I never cared too much about you, but you shouldn't shoot at my woman. Yizan's eyes had a cold look. He had already made up his mind to kill Akainu today. Hee hee. A burst of laughter suddenly remembered that Akainu was spitting blood from his mouth, but he smiled and looked at Yizan with a particularly ironic look. I'm so sorry, my remote control can be activated in another way besides clicking on it. When the temperature of the surrounding 30 degrees reaches a certain amount, the bomb will still explode, just like at this moment. A burst of hot breath bloomed, instantly melting the remote control in Yizan's hand. Yizan's complexion changed greatly, and he quickly came to Belmer and Nuauchigao. There are many black strips neatly distributed, the black tomo is evenly arranged at the neckline, the 6 paths mode is instantly activated, and the seal of the yin-yang escape technique has appeared in the hand. Seal. Click. There was a strange twisting sound of bones in Belmer and Nuauchigao's bodies, and almost instantly, the seal of Yizan's yin-yang escape technique had also sealed Belmer and Nuauchigao. Cold and angry. A terrifying aura spread from Yizan's body instantly, and everyone seemed to hear a huge roar in their hearts. Boom. This huge roar was not a real sound, but it was clearly heard by everyone. This was Yizan's breath, a terrifying breath. Kill you. The art of Hiraishin. Armament hockey. 6 paths. Spiral thrusts. Puff. Blood splattered. The whole world almost stopped. The black and white picture. Everyone's movements seemed to be entangled in water, and became extremely slow. Sengoku opened his mouth slowly and shouted silently. The lieutenant generals in the back still kept their stunned expressions. The whole world lost its voice, and there was only a frame-by-frame picture like a slideshow, which was reflected in everyone's pupils. Inside. A drop of fresh blood slowly splashed from the air, splashed on the ground and shattered into a yuhi-colored blood flower. Under the sunlight, the blood flower reflected a tiny rainbow, less than 1 centimeter, and it was as beautiful as splendid. Akainu raised his head slightly, his body still in a posture that seemed ready to jump at any time. His eyes were cold and hateful, but a strange color appeared in this almost stagnant black and white world. I'm dead. His eyes moved with difficulty, as if trying to break free from the stagnant black and white space and time. He raised his eyelids with difficulty, looked at Yizan, and looked at the blood-dripping finger on his forehead. Boom. A violent big explosion suddenly sounded, and at that moment, the stagnant black and white time and space suddenly disappeared. The wind howled, making a violent buzzing sound, and blood splashed all over the sky, spilling on the surrounding ground. The swept wind spreads in all directions with blood flowers in it. Every wind carries a knife-like force, and Akainu's head also turned into pieces and disappeared in the terrifying hurricane. Akainu, die. The Palace of 9 Snake Island. Yizan appeared with the girls. At this time, Bellmeyer and Nuauchi closed their eyes in discomfort, and their bodies continued to transmit a dense cracking sound. Brothers on, the bombs in mom and sister's bodies seem to be continuing. What's going on? Nami looked at Yizan with tears in her eyes and didn't know what to do. You guys go out first. Yizan fixedly looked at Nuauchigao and Belmer in front of him, one with each hand, and the chakras flowed rapidly, exploring the inside of the 2 women's bodies. But this investigation made Yizan frown tightly, and the 2 women's bodies were already in chaos. Strange, I have already used the yin-yang escape seal. This is a powerful seal that even Kagaya-hime can seal. How could this happen? Yizan observed carefully, and unexpectedly found that the yin-yang dun seal was being eroded by something, and as the seal eroded, the click sound in Belmer and Nuauchigao's bodies became more and more frequent. Feeling that the 2 women were really dying, Yizan no longer hesitated, and immediately used his fruit ability. Give me a face and take out the bombs in Belmer and Nuauchigao unscathed. The golden force field spread and instantly enveloped the 2 women. After a while, a few worms smaller than ants suddenly emerged from the arms of the 2 women, struggling to get in again. Hey, this kind of creature is really rare. However, if you make good use of it, the strengths of Belmer and Nuauchigao. Yizan's eyes lit up, and he had an idea in his heart. Seeing a few very small bugs, Yizan roughly understood the reason. The power of the yin-yang escape seal is unquestionable. As a seal that can seal Kagayaheim, it is almost Yizan's strongest sealing technique, but he didn't expect it to be smaller than an ant. Organisms can actually absorb these abilities. Not only absorb, but also explode. Thinking of this, Yizan took a deep breath and started researching seriously and quickly. Belmer and Nuochigao slept peacefully. Yizan began to study the explosive bugs. On the other hand, Luffy, Sanji, Zoro and Usopp were fighting against many navies in Koko West Village. A violent explosion accompanied by a fight broke the peace and tranquility of Kokoyasi Village. Although Luffy and others are very strong, these navies are the navies that probe Yizan's whereabouts. Every soldier is the elite of the elite. Soon, Luffy and a few people fell into a disadvantage. And when Luffy and the others were unable to support, a general suddenly received a call. Soon, many navies quickly withdrew without any explanation, and left Kokoyasi Village. What's the situation? Why don't you fight? Luffy looked at all this strangely. All gone. Sauron frowned slightly. The wounds he had been slashed by Hokage before were not healed, and he fought reluctantly, soaking the bandages on his body with blood. It's good to go, I really can't hold on anymore. Usopp collapsed to the ground. He was the best. Luffy was blocking the front, he only hid behind and slingshots the navy. I am exhausted. Eat, eat, eat. The carefree Luffy quickly ate, and the whole world boiled again because of a sudden thing. A demon who had been silent for many years appeared and killed a Kainu in the naval headquarters. Chapter 77-Sinister. Demon Yizan. This name has been forgotten by too many people. This is the fear from the era of One Piece. For a long time, too many people have forgotten what this name represents. On this day, what the devil Yizan did was once again everyone remembers. It's a big game. I didn't expect him to kill a Kainu after being silent for so long. A Kainu is a general, and I heard that the world government intends to make a Kainu the next marshal. Now, Yizan and the navy really endless death. At this moment, all the big pirates are extremely sad. All the great pirates have experienced the era of One Piece, and no one in that era will forget what Yizan did. For a time, the high-level combat power of the entire One Piece world was guessing the reason why Yizan killed a Kainu, and Yizan, who was at the center of public opinion. Instead, it was peaceful. On the Nine Snakes Island, Yizan looked at Belmer and Nuochigao who had returned to normal, and heaved a sigh of relief. The problem of the explosive bug was finally solved perfectly. Belmer, Nuochigao, what are you two going to do? Yizan asked while looking at the two women in front of him. Belmer thought about it and faced Yi Xuandao. I should continue to stay in the navy. After all, the navy is the most powerful force in the entire One Piece world. If you kill a Kainu, the navy will definitely target you in the future. There will be some news about you there. Belmer's words made Yizan nodded. All right, but, in this case, your identity is temporarily unavailable, and you need to change your face. I'll teach you a way to change your appearance. Nuochigao also said to Yizan, then I'll go with my mother too. Yizan glanced at Nuochigao, and the appearance of Nuochigao who ate the Cerberus devil fruit has changed a little. In fact, you don't need to learn this method, but you still listen to it for a while. After Yizan finished speaking, he began to teach the two girls how to change their appearance. Yizan himself is a master of disguise, and it is very simple to find a simple way to change his appearance. In just a few days, the two women learned how to change their appearance. Are you really going to the navy? Won't you go out with me? Yizan asked while looking at the two women. No. Seeing the affirmative expressions of Belmer and Nuochigao, Yizan could only give up the idea of letting the two women go sailing with him. Belmer and Nuochigao did not go sailing with him, so Yizan brought the Nami girls to Luffy's ship again. Space, give me a face, and establish a passage to the Golden Melee. Following Yizan's words, Yizan and the girls went to the Golden Melee. As soon as they stepped out of the space door, Yizan and the girls were a little stunned. What's wrong with you guys? Yizan unexpectedly found that Luffy and the others were covered in scars. Is it a dog? Bastard. Why do I feel uncomfortable when I hear your words? Sanji stared at Yizan with a displeased expression. What do you mean, a dog? You guys are not in the state of a dog now. How did you become such a ragged look? Yizan looked at the crowd with a smile. We met the navy in Kokoyashi village. Usopp looked at Yizan and explained quickly. Cut. That's how it is. Yizan curled his lips, his face full of mockery. A group of funny people. I said that I am the devil Yizan. Nami's previous relationship with me has been known by the navy. Now the hometown of the United States will definitely be surrounded by layers. Do you think you or me go directly to provoke those navies? Quote. Although Yizan said this, but looking at everyone's pitiful injuries, he still quickly used medical ninjutsu to heal everyone's injuries. Well, in fact, the bigger reason was because of how the injured people played pranks. Only by curing these injuries can Yizan be able to play well. Yizan's face was sacred to heal everyone, and his sinister intentions were not known by everyone Akatsuki. Seeing his partner who had fully recovered from his injuries, Luffy burst into tears. He wept and wiped his tears, and looked at Yizan with a very guilty look. I'm sorry, I wronged you, you are really a good person. Yizan also smiled and nodded. Well, that's natural. However, for some unknown reason, after hearing Yizan's words, everyone who originally thought Yizan was a good person felt that Yizan had bad intentions. Sanji looked at Yizan and said, do you want to make fun of us better and then treat our injuries? Yizan widened his eyes and looked at Sanji. How do you know? Yizan's words made Luffy, who was treated by Yizan, want to escape instantly. No, I don't want to be treated by you. Luffy yelled. Obviously, Luffy would rather be hurt than cured by being teased by Yizan. Luffy got up in an instant, but Yizan didn't continue to chase, looking at Luffy who was jumping around. Well, it seems that my medical skills are as good as ever, but in a short period of time, the injury has been completely cured. Yizan's words made Luffy who was running around instantly dumbfounded. He looked all over his body and wanted to hurt him quickly, but he found that there was no injury all over his body. Luffy looked at Yizan blankly, looking at himself with tears in his eyes. Luffy didn't have any wounds all over his body, which reminded Luffy again of the life he had been teased by Yizan before. Sanji, Zoro, Usopp. Yizan looked at the three with a smile. The three of them stood up regardless of their injuries, trying to escape from Yizan's side, but they were quickly caught by Yizan and forced to heal. It didn't take long for the three of them to sit on the deck with dejected faces, looking at the body without any injuries, and feeling that their whole life had no light. Nami looked at everyone. What's wrong with you? Brother Zan kindly helped you treat your injuries, why did you react like this? Luffy looked at Nami with a sad face. As long as he doesn't make fun of us, we will be very grateful. Really? Yizan looked at the crowd with a serious expression. Of course it's true. Luffy nodded heavily. As long as you don't bully us, we will definitely thank you. Luffy and others thought that Yizan would really not bully them. The corner of Yizan's mouth cracked into a smile. Of course, I will bully you. Ha ha ha. Yizan laughed and looked at Luffy and the others. Luffy and the others were instantly dumbfounded, not knowing how to describe their strange mood. Chapter 78 hit a cute girl. In this way, Yizan still stayed on Luffy's boat, playing tricks on Luffy and others all day, heading towards the Great Route. Under the extremely sad circumstances of Luffy and others, the ship sailed to Rog Town, which is known as the town of beginning and end. One Piece Roger was executed here. On the Golden Melee, Yizan hugged Kia comfortably, watching Nami on one side drawing a nautical chart, while Robin and Alvia were holding a book and watching with relish. Marina seemed to be going the kitchen stole something to eat, and Yizan said that he had nothing to do with that glutton. Brother Zan, can you please stop me from touching? Kia lowered her head ashamed of Yuhi and twisted her body slightly. But following Kia's words, Yizan leaned into Kia's ear, Kaya, it's uncomfortable to touch through the clothes. Don't. As Kia spoke, Yizan's hand had already penetrated into Kia's clothes. No, Kia shy Yuhi's face, but Yizan's hands were dishonestly messing around, making Kia shy and almost fainted. Brother Zan, it is estimated that you will be in Rog Town soon. Nami raised her head, looked at Kia's shy face, and said angrily. Yizan did not proceed to the next step. Not long after, the Golden Melly was already docked on the shore. On the deck of the Golden Melly, everyone looked at the town in the distance. On the bow, Luffy laughed and stood up. Let's go, I'm going to have a look. Luffy said to the crowd with a big smile. Luo 657 Gia. Yizan looked at the town in the distance, and said to Nami, Robin and Kia, go and see. Go and see, but can you not move your hands? As soon as she got off the boat, Nami roared at Yizan. Yizan's hand moved up quickly and hugged Nami's waist all of a sudden. Well, your clothes were too slippery just now, it must be like this. You're a scumbag. Thank you for the compliment, Tilda. Yizan smiled and kissed Nami on the cheek, leaving Nami helpless. She glared at Yizan angrily, and pulled Yizan's hand out of her clothes again. Bastard. Don't do it where there are people. Touch me. Oh, you mean, where no one is. Bah, don't use words. Big rascal. Nami angrily wanted to break free from Yizan, but at this time, Marina took the initiative to pounce. Yizan didn't pay attention, and Nami broke free and ran away. Tisk. Marina, it's all because of you. Nami, who got it, flew away. Hee, bad dad, I don't mind being eaten by you, Tilda. Eat in one day, you little lecher. Hee, just fuck, coward, don't dare to fuck me. Genai bit Yizan's ear badly. The crisp feeling made Yizan shudder subconsciously. He hugged Genai tighter, and Robin came over beside him. Brother Zan, I want to hug. Well, that truth nigh, you go ahead to explore the road first. I can't help it when you are in my arms. Hee, stinky dad, coward. Marina left Yizan's arms, ran to the front and grabbed Alvia all at once. Taking advantage of Alvia's unpreparedness, she forcibly shoved Alvia into Yizan's arms. Now, the woman in Yizan's arms became Alvia and Robin. That soft feeling instantly made Yizan cool. Asshole, let me go. Tisk, don't blame me, it's Marina who pushed you over here. Come on, Robin, kiss one and let your mother see, Tilda. Yizan smiled wickedly and kissed Robin on the lips. Seeing her daughter and Yizan kissing like this, Olivia's face was full of Yuhi, but she couldn't break away from Yizan's embrace. Yizan teased with the girls. Behind, Luffy, Zoro and others also got off the boat. Looking at the huge Rog Town in front of him, Luffy happily pinched the straw hat and lifted it up. Liberated! Luffy and the others shouted in ecstasy, and hurried towards Rog Town. Tisk! Luffy and the others are going to play, let's play too. Okay, first you have to let me go. Don't let it go. Bang! With a knock, Yizan instantly covered his forehead in pain. He pouted pitifully and found that Alvia had pulled Robin and fled forward. You too! Yizan puffed up his face angrily. John Kiba danced his claws and chased after the two women, and with Yizan's departure, Nami, Marina and Kia looked at each other speechlessly. At a glance. Then, let's go shopping, shall we? Yizan was chasing Robin and Alvia. These two women were also smart. They turned around and blamed Yizan, but they got rid of Yizan. He walked helplessly on the street while covering his forehead. The jade-like body bumped into him. Boom. Ah, it hurts. Yizan's eyes lit up with a soft and heroic voice, and he looked at the girl he bumped into. Wow, another beauty. Yizan instantly widened his eyes. However, Yizan soon discovered that the girl was groping on the ground like a blind person, and not far away was a pair of glasses with a crack. Here, Yizan took the glasses that fell not far away, pulled up the girl who fell on the ground, handed the glasses to the girl and said, "Sorry, you broke your glasses. Let's go, find a place and I'm getting another one for you. Yizan's words made the beauty quickly wave her hand. No, no need. How about that? Yizan looked at the beauty, grabbed her soft jade hand unceremoniously, ignored the beauty's struggle, and walked towards the optical shop in the town. Okay, I see, don't grab my hand. The beauty said to Yizan. Her shy look made Yizan's heart a little moved. At this time, Nami and others who saw that Yizan was not chasing also came to Yizan's side. What happened? What happened? Robin asked concerned. Nami looked at the beautiful woman beside Yizan and said, Are you hooking up with girls again? Yizan nodded Nami's head, and in Nami's frowning expression, he said, I ran into someone in pursuit of some unscrupulous beauty and broke their glasses. Yizan's words made the girls look at the glasses that the beauty was wearing, and only then did they see the cracks on the glasses. Nami looked at the beautiful woman embarrassed and said, Sorry, we're used to joking, find an optical shop and get a new one. Nami said. She came directly to the beauty's side, and before the beauty could react, she directly put her arms around the beauty's shoulders. My name is Nami, what's your name? The beauty shook her body customedly, and the lady looked at everyone. My name is Dasuki. Dasuki. Yizan raised his eyebrows. Yizan also knew a little about Dasuki. After all, Dasuki appeared a few times in the later period, and was liked by some people. You know me? Dasuki asked strangely, looking at Yizan's tone that seemed to know him. Know a little bit. Yizan didn't know if it was intentional or not. When he turned around, he touched Dasuki's little murderous part with his arm. Let's go. The murderous part was hit, causing Dasuki to face Yuhi instantly. She glanced at Yizan quietly, not knowing if Yizan did it on purpose. Chapter 79-Optical Shop. In an optical shop, Yizan stared silently at Dasuki. Don't look at me like this, I just need to fix the lens. Dasuki looked at Yizan weakly. The lady's Dasuki made Dasuki unable to refute the domineering Yizan at all. After Yizan heard Dasuki's words, he quickly shook his head. How can this be possible? How can such a beautiful beauty wear such dirty glasses? Following Yizan's words, Yizan shook his head again. This is not good looking. With that said, Yizan took off the glasses from Dasuki's face, but when taking them off, Yizan's hand slid across Dasuki's pretty face at will. Tisk tisk, so tender, so slippery. Yizan felt relieved. His behavior made Dasuki take a step back unaccustomed to it. No, I can come by myself. Dasuki was very uncomfortable with Yizan's unsolicited behavior. Hey, it's nothing, you're welcome. Yizan waved his hand casually and said carelessly. Yizan's words made Nami and Kia on the side look at each other. HMPH, Brother Zan is going to bully the girl again. Finally, after a few times, Dasuki finally couldn't stand Yizan's closeness. That's it. Dasuki quickly took out a pair of glasses that looked very intellectual, and said to Yizan with great certainty. No matter how Yizan persuaded, Dasuki didn't seem to want to change her meaning. Dasuki's reaction made Yizan know that this matter would not change. Yizan turned his eyes, but saw Robin who was quietly reading a book on the side, shyly, and leaned in front of Robin with a smile. Robin-chan, you are reading, do you want a pair of glasses? Yizan's words, let Robin put down the book in his hand, looked at Yizan, then opened the storage scroll presented by Yizan, and slowly took out his glasses from inside. I have sunglasses, gold wire, half frame. Robin put all kinds of glasses in front of Yizan. After a while, he took out glasses that were comparable to the entire optical shop, leaving Yizan dumbfounded. Only then did I know that Robin, who has always loved reading books, is also very fashionable, but thinking about it, that girl doesn't like beauty. Robin looked at Yizan's frustrated eyes, and then came to Yizan's side with a smile. However, I still think I'm missing a pair of glasses that you gave me, Brother Zan. Yizan looked at Robin's playful look. A tiger pounced, hugged Robin directly, feeling the nephrite in his arms, Yizan burst into a smile. Look at you, Nami said you were lustful, but you refuted it. Feeling Yizan's desire, Robin whispered to Yizan, her pretty face flashing a shy Yuhi look. It's called My Fair Lady, Kunzi is so cute. Yizan explained to Robin with a smile. Nami burrowed into the space between the two, aren't you going to buy glasses? What are you doing? Robin quickly got out of Yizan's arms and stood on the side pretty, while Yizan grabbed Nami, and then pointed to a pair of glasses and said, show me that glasses. Quote. The store owner also quickly gave Yizan the glasses. Just now, Yizan was very generous and bought a few glasses for Dasichi. The store also liked this kind of business. Does it look good? Robin put on his glasses and asked Yizan. Yizan instantly widened his eyes and nodded quickly, if you add a uniform. The standard uniform is tempting. Robin at this time is simply the temptation of a standard teacher's uniform. Then buy it, Nami said with a big wave of her hand. Hey, it's me who will pay, okay. Yizan said with a white glance at Nami. HMPH, I'm rich too. Nami said in a fanatical tone, one day, I'll take all your money. Okay, you're mine anyway Tilda. It's not yours. The two were bickering, and at this time, a huge thunder suddenly sounded outside. Bang! The brilliant lightning flashed by, causing Robin to hug Yizan subconsciously. Brothers on, it's going to rain. Well, Yizan nodded and suddenly remembered something. In Rog Town, Luffy almost died at this time. In the plot, Luffy's survival in Rog Town is due to the weather and luck, but many people think that it was Luffy's daddy Long's shot that saved Luffy. And Yizan was going to see what happened to the dragon. Yizan was silent, and Dasichi, at this moment, quickly put on new glasses, avoided Yizan with a face full of yuhi, and ran out of the optical shop. Sorry, I suddenly have something to deal with, so I left first. Dusky left, which made Yizan a little confused. Looking at Yizan's appearance, Robin asked suspiciously, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with this Dusky? Yizan shook his head. Dusky is fine, but the key is that she followed a Navy general and ate the devil fruit ability user, Smog, who is a natural smoke fruit. Strong. No matter how strong can you be stronger than me? It's just a dog skin plaster. It's a mad dog, and it sticks to you when it's provoked. It's not a woman, so it's very annoying. Yizan said and looked at the girls. Let's go and find Luffy. It's raining, so I won't stay in this town any longer. Yizan said, and soon came to Roger's execution table with the girls. Roger. Yizan sighed slightly. At this time, Luffy was escorted to Roger's execution platform by a woman named Erika. Is Luffy all right? Kia asked while looking at Yizan. It's okay. Yizan looked at all this casually, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, and when he came here, Yizan looked at a corner of the execution platform. Yizan's perception was very clear that in that corner, Luffy's father was there. At this moment, Luffy is about to be executed. There is no fear in his heart, but a bright smile blooms. The big sword in the sky was about to be swung down, but Yizan stood motionless. Seeing Yizan's performance, the dragon in the corner finally couldn't help it. He immediately used his fruit ability to control the entire weather and use the strong wind and thunder to save Luffy. Go ahead. Chapter 80 _ Collect clothes in the rain. Why didn't you do it? Aren't you here? That's your son, what am I doing? In Rog Town, which was raining heavily, Yizan answered lightly, making Long very speechless. You're so right that I'm speechless. It's good to know, Yizan said indifferently. Facing Yizan, Long Yi did not dare to have any other ideas, not because he was worried about how Yizan would deal with Luffy, but because Long, the leader of the Revolutionary Army, was too strong for Yizan. It couldn't be clearer. Yizan's power is unquestionable. The Devil Yizan, this name has always been the #1 in the list of people who are afraid of high-level executives. The general behavior style of being a child but possessing a powerful force value is something that all high-level officials are afraid of. In the entire One Piece world, except for the Navy who had to be the enemy of Yi-Zan because of the Tianlong people, the rest of the forces expressly prohibit provoking Yi-Zan, and even some people who are similar to Yi-Zan are not allowed to provoke them at will. Although I don't know why you are on Luffy's boat, Luffy also asks you to take care of me. Long said as he looked at Yi-Zan. His tone was sincere, obviously thinking that Yi-Zan would not deal with Luffy. Don't worry, with me here, that thing won't die, at most it will be broken by playing. Yi-Zan waved his hand casually, looking at Luffy who survived, facing Longdao. Luffy, there are some things I want him to do. Yi-Zan's words finally reassured Long that if he has something to do, Luffy is still safe for the time being. Long watched Luffy get off Roger's execution platform, hurriedly put on his Kabuto hat, and said to Yi-Zan, "Sorry, I still have something to do, I need to leave first." "Well, you go," Yi-Zan said casually. Seeing Long leave, Yi-Zan dodged and came to the execution platform. "Yi-Zan, why are you here?" Luffy didn't know when he stood up, and a bright smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "I have something very important to inform everyone." Yi-Zan was extremely serious. Luffy also nodded heavily. "I have informed everyone that I will be the Pirate King in the future, how about you? What do you want to tell others? Your ideals?" Yi-Zan ignored Luffy, but looked at the many people in the square who were frightened by the lightning just now. A playful smile cracked his mouth, took a deep breath, and shouted, "It's raining, go home. Clothes away." Quote. In a sluggish manner, everyone stared blankly at Yi-Zan on Roger's execution platform. Who would have thought that such a person, on such a forbidden land, would say such a thing and go home to collect clothes when it rained? "No one cares about you." At this time, Robin's figure appeared behind Yi-Zan and said to Yi-Zan. While everyone was stunned, the sound of footsteps suddenly sounded, but the Navy stationed in Rog Town arrived. At the same time, a cloud of smoke came towards Luffy and Yi-Zan in an instant, but it was Smog. "Wow, big smoker." Yi-Zan looked at Smog and shouted instantly. So, the title of Big Smoke Man started from now on. "How dare you trespass on Roger's execution platform?" Smog yelled at Yi-Zan, Luffy and the others. Luffy's mouth cracked with a smile. "My name is Monkey D. Luffy, the man who will become One Piece in the future." Luffy's words made Smoker roar instantly. His body turned into smoke, and he attacked Luffy directly. "Ha ha ha ha, run away." Luffy laughed and was about to run away. But, "Hey, Yi-Zan, what are you doing?" Before Luffy left, Yi-Zan directly grabbed his clothes and grabbed Roger's execution platform. "Fleeing without a fight is not my style," Yi-Zan said to Luffy with a bright smile on the corner of his mouth. Luffy, a Byakugan, shouted, "It's not your style, so why did you pull me?" Luffy watched Smog attack him, and he almost cried. The level of trouble with nature-type devil fruits is as deep as Luffy knows Akatsuki. To sum it up in 2 words, trouble. "Ah, are you not a rubber fruit person?" Yi-Zan looked at Luffy and asked. Luffy looked at Yi-Zan in doubt. "What does the rubber devil fruit have to do with me fighting or not fighting?" Yi-Zan looked at Luffy seriously and said, "It's okay. But, I like it." In short, under Yi-Zan's intervention, Luffy still had to fight against Smoker, and the result made Luffy feel very sad. Luffy has almost no power to fight back against Smog. Now Luffy is not domineering, and his attacks have no effect on those with natural devil fruit abilities, while Smog's attack is very fierce, and the weird weapon Tendency Tower Stone at the top of the hand also makes Luffy, the devil fruit capable, miserable. "What a waste," Yi-Zan said sarcastically, sitting comfortably on the side, watching the battle between Smoker and Luffy. "I don't care, I'm running away." Luffy shouted, "This fight is meaningless." "Want meaning? It's very simple, I'll give you a meaning." Yi-Zan's mouth evoked a malicious smile. "No, I'll fight," Luffy yelled directly after seeing Yi-Zan's smile. Yi-Zan then nodded. "That's good, but, do you really want no meaning?" 2.1 Luffy hurriedly shook his head. Yizan's mouth cracked into a smile. Actually, I can't think of any meaning. Isn't it a duty for the Navy to catch pirates? Yizan's words made Luffy speechless for a moment. Luffy felt like he was about to cry. Although Yizan still said this, Luffy continued to fight against Smog. There was no way, Luffy really didn't have the confidence to test Yizan. Seeing this, Yizan smiled and said to Robin, "Robin, have the rest of the staff assembled." "Well, it's ready." Yizan said to Luffy. "Luffy is gone, save your own life. Be careful." Yizan said, picked up Robin directly and left Roger's execution platform.